anymore. Chapter 1152 Palace Master. Fang Qingran looked at the golden box and twitched the corner of her mouth. It was true that no matter what kind of creature, they like gold. If gold is added to the soul of a monk, it can represent merit. As merit increases, the monk's luck and opportunities will increase. Monks are naturally fond of gold. Gold can also be added to the destiny. The golden destiny is naturally noble and will be favored by heaven. All creatures with a golden destiny will have a smooth future as long as they do not go astray. Gold is not just used on living beings. Other things, such as talismans, seals, weapons, etc., if the level is golden, they are very powerful existences. Gold and purple are the two favorite colors of monks on the road. Purple will certainly be darker than gold. However, purple is rarer and more precious. Purple things are often linked to laws and are difficult to control. Compared with purple, gold has become a more common type of existence. I suspect we will see countless more treasure chests like this, Fang Qingran said. Fang Jingyu blinked and asked, then do we want to open it? No, Fang Qingran gave the same answer as before. Fang Qingran felt the message conveyed on the treasure box and raised the corners of her lips slightly. If you like blocking the road, just give him a good beating. After Fang Qingran finished speaking, he took out the god-killing spear and prepared to stab the treasure chest with it. When the god-killing spear was about to approach the treasure chest suddenly jumped away, leaving the way in. Fang Qingran scanned the treasure chest. It was indeed a conscious thing. She had fallen into a misunderstanding before. When she saw the golden crow on the door, the first thing she thought of was the Zhenshan clan. But the Zhenshan clan is not the only one related to the golden crow. Fang Jingyu saw the treasure box move out of the way, and her eyes were confused for a moment. She clearly didn't feel any consciousness on the treasure chest, so why did it avoid Sister Fang's attack? Fang Jingyu moved her fingertips slightly, and a few drops of moonlight divine water fell on the box. This time, she did not deliberately control the corrosive power of the moonlight divine water. But the treasure box was intact and not corroded by the divine water. She didn't feel the defense on the treasure box, and there were no other aura fluctuations inside it. Fang Jingyu suddenly became more curious about what was inside the treasure box. He almost wanted to control the divine water and open the treasure chest. Boom, boom, boom. The god-killing spear hit the treasure chest and made a sound. The treasure chest moved to the side again to make way for a wider path. No matter who you are, don't block my way. I'm just here to find a monk. Once I find him, I will leave. Fang Qingran said. Sister Fang, can it understand you? Fang Jingyu asked curiously. I don't know, even if it can't understand it, the person behind it can understand it. After Fang Qingran finished speaking, he put away the god-killing spear and stepped into the palace. This palace is splendid and luxurious. Treasures are on display everywhere. A human figure is carved on a high position in the hall. The man wore a crown on his head, a dragon robe, a golden mark between his eyebrows, and a big clock in his hand. He looked arrogant, exuding unquestionable authority and domineering, and looked like the supreme person in the world. Fang Qingran felt a strong sense of oppression from this person. This sense of oppression is different from the oppression of the weak by the strong, but a unique kind of oppression. Fang Qingran couldn't describe this feeling of oppression in words. At this moment, the god-killing spear and the 10,000 ghost banners jumped out of the void space. Fang Qingran suddenly felt that the feeling of oppression disappeared. The god-killing spear flew forward and stabbed 2 holes in the man's body without mercy. Mangui Hata went over and slapped the opponent twice in the face. Fang Qingran. I was speechless a lot. The weapon spirits of the god-killing spear and the 10,000 ghost banners are similar to those of King Feng and Kanglong. They all have their own minds. But they have never been so childish. Doesn't the person above have any grudge against them? The master of the hall, who originally looked mighty and domineering, now looks a little embarrassed. His posture is still arrogant, but he lacks a sense of intimidation. Fang Qingran immediately turned around and decided to see other things in the hall. She was afraid that if she continued to watch, the god-killing spear and 10,000 ghost flags would hit that person a few more times. In the end, who is the master of this hall, or should he show some mercy to the other party? The god-killing spear and the 10,000 ghost flags followed Fang Qingran, one on the left and one on the right, standing next to Fang Qingran like a protector. Fang Jingyu glanced at the god-killing spear several times. The god-killing spear was the weapon that the ancestor of all demons had been using before his death. This thing disappeared after the ancestor of all demons disappeared. There are quite a few powerful people who want to find it. But they all failed. This thing can become the weapon of the ancestor of all demons, which shows its power. Fang Jingyu had a doubt from the first moment she saw the god-killing spear. Sister Fang is a human monk. She cares about the common people and practices Taoism. Why did the demon clan's weapons belong to Sister Fang? Several more golden treasure boxes appeared within Fang Qingran's sight. Only this time, they did not block Fang Qingran's path. Instead, they deliberately opened a way for Fang Qingran to go. Fang Qingran didn't even look at the treasure box and came to a mural. Dozens of paintings are clearly carved on the walls. Fang Qingran started to look at the first picture, which showed the person in the high position before. Fang Qingran felt the familiar sense of oppression again. She immediately held down the god-killing spear and the 10,000 ghost flags. Don't move for now. I want to find out what's going on. Among human monks, the most common thing is the suppression of strength. But the painting does not involve the other party's physical presence, so it is obviously not suppressed by force. And among the human races now, there is no bloodline suppression. Of course, the human race had bloodline suppression a long time ago. It's just that this kind of bloodline suppression has caused several catastrophes among the human race. In the end, the supreme human race sacrificed his own power and abolished the bloodline suppression in the human race. In fact, humans and beasts are different. In the beast clan, different beasts cannot reproduce with each other, so this suppression of bloodline will easily continue. But the situations of humans and beasts are completely different. If the human race continues to use the bloodline suppression of the beast race, it will definitely cause a melee and create a gap between the races. It will also make the human race unstable. It is not conducive to the development of human races. Therefore, for the human race, not only are there no bloodline suppression between each other, but other races are also unable to form bloodline suppression against the human race. Feng Qingren's eyes darkened slightly, staring at the painting, sensing the specific source of the bloodline suppression. Feng Qingren's eyes immediately fell on a part of the painting. The suppression may not have been given by this person. After all, it is still unknown whether the other person is a human being. Feng Qingren stared at the clock, and then glanced at the god-killing spear and 10,000 ghost flags that were always eager to try, and something flashed across the sea of consciousness. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1153 Chaos Clock. Could this thing be a chaos clock? Feng Qingren's eyes fell on the next painting. The second painting is a world of heaven and earth, with the sun, moon, stars, mountains, rivers and seas all in it. The third painting shows the people in the first painting holding a big clock and fighting. Feng Qingren also saw the god-killing spear and the 10,000 ghost flags among them. The next paintings are almost all melee battles. Until later, the world became riddled with holes and devastation. Finally the melee stopped. Then 10 three-legged golden crows with wings spread appeared in the painting. The golden crow in the painting is majestic and noble and cannot be violated. Below, there is the grand scene of each golden crow appearing separately, illuminating the heaven and earth. But later on, the painting style changed again. Feng Qingren couldn't understand what was painted inside. The many colors in the picture were mixed together, making everything very distorted. After that, 10 golden crows appeared together, causing the world to turn into a sea of fire, and the vitality continued to evaporate. A catastrophe ensues. Ellipsis. Feng Qingren read all the pictures bit by bit and probably had the answer in her heart. What really made her feel suppressed was the chaos clock. The chaos bell is an innate treasure from the Hongmeng period. The chaos clock can suppress the operation of all laws of time and space. You can also forcibly reverse time and space and refine the laws of heaven and earth. And she has a causal line involving time, and she has traveled through the long river of time before, and there is an aura of the law of time in her body. It will naturally be suppressed by the chaos clock. Feng Qingren's eyes brightened a bit when he thought of this. Since it can give a sense of suppression, it proves that the chaos clock really exists in this space. The innate treasure of the Hongmeng period. I want it very much. I heard that using the chaos clock as a weapon, you can kill a large number of saints by simply throwing it out. With such a weapon in hand, wouldn't all walks of life walk sideways? After she has taken care of the plain matters, she can go to the immortal realm in person. So she is bound to win the chaos clock. As for Chaos Bell, what should she do if she doesn't want to submit to her? Very easy to handle. The sky-opening axe, the god-killing spear, the 10,000 ghost flags, the Qingduan sword, the Hongmeng pearl, and the heavenly refining furnace are all innate treasures. Let them take turns. She doesn't believe this, why hasn't the chaos clock surrendered? And it can be seen from these paintings that the owner of the chaos bell has fallen and disappeared. The chaos bell is now an ownerless thing. Using these methods to subdue the chaos bell, there is no oppression at all. Feng Qingren glanced at the god-killing spear and the 10,000 ghost flags, and smiled. Feng Qingren looked around, somewhat suspecting that the person in charge of the entire palace was the chaos clock. Feng Qingren sent a message to Feng Zhiqiu to ask about the situation there. Feng Zhiqiu quickly responded, Master, I am still in this palace. I sense a familiar aura here, and I am looking for the existence of this aura. Feng Qingren sent a message, pay attention to safety. If you encounter something strange, tell me first. Feng Qingren felt relieved when he heard that Feng Zhiqiu didn't see the treasure box. Xiao Jingyu, let's go look elsewhere. Feng Qingren now suspected that this place was not as simple as a folding space. Okay, Sister Feng, have you discovered anything? Feng Jingyu asked. After entering this palace, Feng Jingyu made no sound and just stayed by Feng Qingren's side quietly. Feng Qingren noticed something strange about Feng Jingyu, but Feng Jingyu obviously didn't want to talk about it, so she didn't ask. Feng Qingren took Feng Jingyu and made several space jumps, entering several folding spaces. Without exception, golden treasure chests were seen in every folding space. It's just that they don't dare to block the road directly anymore. It was displayed brightly where Feng Qingren could see it. When Feng Qingren passed by the treasure chests, a smile would appear on her lips unconsciously, and she would silently write down the number of treasure chests she encountered. Finally, on the 10th time, Feng Qingren and Feng Jingyu returned to the hall they had just entered. Arriving at the main hall that she entered for the first time, Feng Jingyu's mood obviously changed. Sister Feng, there is no aura of monks in these spaces. Is the ancestor not here? Feng Jingyu asked. It is true that he is not in this palace, but I already know where he is hiding. Feng Qingren responded. Feng Zhiqiu was able to enter this palace because there was something in the palace that allowed Feng Zhiqiu to come in. And her ability to come in and enter here may be related to Feng Zhiqiu. It may also be related to the token. There may also be the existence of the god-killing spear and the 10,000 ghost banners. And the ancestor of the Nangong family has nothing in his hand, so there is no way to enter here. Feng Qingren walked out of the hall directly and came to the entrance. After the heavy door was closed, Feng Qingren sent a message to Feng Zhiqiu, Chu, please release your breath, and I will go find you. Okay, Feng Zhiqiu said immediately. The place where it is now is a valley. It's huge going into this palace. It's not like a simple palace. It's almost like a small secret realm. There are majestic mountains inside, as well as various standing ancient trees. The intersection of mountains and rivers forms a landscape. There are extremely luxurious palaces among the scenery. In the center of the entire small secret realm, there is another huge square. There are roads leading to various palaces in the square. Wandering around here, Feng Zhiqiu had forgotten what the door he entered looked like. It felt like maybe it opened the wrong way and that's why it ended up in such a strange place. At the same time, the entrance to the majestic and tall palace. Not long after Feng Qingbran and Feng Jingyu disappeared, a figure came to the door. The person who came was tall, with a restrained aura, and his whole body had a temperament that seemed to have been tempered, with a kind of lofty detachment from the world. But when you look at his eyebrows, you will find that there is a condescending look in his eyebrows. There is no such feeling of being inclusive of all things. He stared at the door, the corners of his lips raised slightly, with a hint of mockery. He is the hidden true ancestor of the Nangong family. Back then, when the War of the Gods took place, he was not very powerful and escaped the attention of the Chaos Law Enforcers. Afterwards, the Chaos Law Enforcer withdrew from this plane, and he suddenly became a powerful man in the sky. When the Chaos Law Enforcers entered heaven, all the Nangong family's various techniques were hidden here, so they were not discovered. The inheritance of the Nangong family was thus preserved. Later, the Nangong family relied on the skills left behind to become stronger step by step, and almost became the #1 family in the world. It's a pity that Chuanman finally stepped in and supported the Bailey family. The Nangong family can only be ranked second. If it weren't for the ancestral precepts that the Nangong family was not allowed to cooperate with Chuanman, the Nangong family would have been the #1 family that year. But the ancestral precepts cannot be violated. Failure to make the Nangong family #1 in the world eventually became his great regret. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1154 appears, additional update. Originally, the Nangong family was the second family. As the oldest and most powerful being in the family, he controls the life, death and power of the entire Nangong state. All forces that want to enter Nangong state must be controlled by him and the Nangong family. In Nangong Prefecture, he has become a person who speaks the truth. But this time, his pursuit has changed from power to enlightenment and sainthood. But the saints in the entire plane basically died in the War of Gods, so he could only fumble based on ancient books. There are extremely limited records about saints in ancient books. He has been struggling to find a way to advance to become a saint. Just when he was in distress, he met a strange old man. He told him that the rules of the current plane were incomplete, and if he wanted to become a saint, he must go against the rules. This approach will burden oneself with countless causes and effects. He didn't want to make this choice at first, until the heavenly moon goddess appeared in the sky, completely changing his point of view. When the heavenly moon goddess appeared, he was already in a realm above the saints. Every move has an aura that controls the world. Just looking at it from a distance makes you feel that it is beyond your reach. The greed that grew in his heart at that moment could not be suppressed at all. He wanted the feeling of contempt for all living things. So he accepted the old man's method. Create a mortal body and go to the small world to absorb the luck of some of the most favored people in heaven. When he first absorbed luck, he still felt a little guilty and almost developed inner demons. But the old man told him, no matter how powerful the monks in the small world are, they can't compare to you. They give you their luck and become a saint, which is also a meritorious deed. When you become a saint in the future, you can return your luck to the small world and help more monks grow up. One saint can save hundreds of millions of monks. After listening to the old man's remarks, he accepted this concept unconsciously. Gradually, he returned in a mortal body, bringing with him countless fortunes. These inexplicable fortunes came together, and sure enough, he successfully became a saint and controlled the power of heaven and earth. Many saints in heaven have attained enlightenment in this way. Only a few saints attained enlightenment through penance. Without exception, these saints were sanctified later than him. There are also some strong people who refuse to use this method to realize the Tao, and directly exhaust their lifespan and disappear from the world. After becoming a saint, he wanted to enter the depths of the Genshin clan's small world even more. But he almost died several times when he came in. Helpless, he could only use the same method to continue to improve his strength. Anyway, since ancient times, one general has achieved great success but 10,000 bones have withered. Sacrifice some ant-like existences to make him a more powerful person who can also protect the plane in the future. And when his plan was implemented smoothly, Feng Qingwu appeared in the sky. The other party had only grown up for tens of thousands of years, but he actually had the same strength as him. The key is that after she entered the heaven, she was immediately recognized by the heaven and became the lord of the heaven. He also received the support of countless casual cultivators and female cultivators, and was in the limelight for a time. Originally, it was nothing if there was a lord of heaven. He didn't mind at all. But she actually wanted to change the rules she had set before. The states are required not to kill monks at will, nor to control secret realms and small worlds at will, but to allow them to distribute the resources they have so that more monks can grow together. What a joke. He conquered Nangong State, so everything in it naturally belongs to him. Why should his things be distributed? In addition, the monks in Nangong State enjoy his protection, why can't he control their life and death? So he told the head of the Nangong family not to support Feng Qingwu. Almost all of the same 8 families in heaven are against Feng Qingwu. God is the god of the 8 families, and it is absolutely impossible to give up control. Giving up power is equivalent to giving up resources and the right to speak. Sooner or later they will become ants. Life and death are controlled by other strong men. Feng Qingwu wanted to take care of the casual cultivators and female cultivators. It was her business, but he must not touch any of Nangong State's resources. Neither can the secret realm and the small world of God. These are the things of the 8 families. Every once in a while, they will gather a group of strong people to explore these secret realms, and the treasures obtained will be divided among the 8 major families. If you are a casual cultivator, you can also enter the secret realm. Wouldn't the treasure inside be ruined? It was not only the 8 families who opposed Feng Qingwu, but also the forces attached to the 8 families. The combined forces here cannot be compared to those of casual cultivators. What could Feng Qingwu do to defeat them? They directly drove the monks who submitted to Feng Qingwu out of the 8 major states. Almost all of the territory of God is occupied by the forces of the 8 major families. The places left behind are just extremely barren places that are not suitable for monks to live at all. These places are vast enough. Enough for Feng Qingwu to settle those monks. Unfortunately, if a monk stays in a place without resources, sooner or later his lifespan will be exhausted and he will die. Feng Qingwu was quite brave and took the casual cultivators to open up wasteland. The 8 major families didn't care at first. After all, it's a barren land, how can it be developed? The 8 major families were all waiting to see Feng Qingwu's joke. These things were all reported to him by the younger generations of the Nangong family. After hearing this, he laughed it off. As long as Feng Qingwu didn't move to Nangong Prefecture, he would not interfere. But when he withdrew from seclusion again, he found that the Nangong family had suffered heavy losses and the family heads had changed several times. The same goes for other families, with many top experts losing their lives in the battle. After he asked, he discovered that it was related to Feng Qingwu. The 8 major families really left Feng Qingwu alone. But things developed beyond the expectations of the 8 major families. Feng Qingwu really developed that area, the spiritual energy inside became richer, and there were many more resources. And the most important thing is that those areas are not really barren. Instead, it contains dozens of huge top-grade spiritual veins. There are also many divine beasts above the holy level living there. In major families, only family elders are eligible to contract with divine beasts. This kind of thing should originally belong to the 8 major families and cannot be given to those casual cultivators of low origin. The 8 major families wanted divine beasts, so Feng Qingwu would not give them to them. Not only did she not give it, she also gave the sacred beasts to those casual cultivators for contracts. The war between heaven and earth broke out, and the 8 major families and Feng Qingwu fought in darkness, and all life was in ruins. Feng Qingwu didn't take a step back. The 8 major families also suffered serious losses. So they invited out the sleeping ancestors of each family. In addition to him, there are several ancestors in the Nangong family. He is the only one who has closed the gate of death. Therefore, the children of the Nangong family failed to wake him up. When he woke up, several ancestors had already died. But this time, there were only a dozen people like him left in the Bada family. Only 3 thought there should be a truce. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1155 Dark Breath, Golden Ticket 1. The other ancestors and him all agreed to destroy Feng Qingwu. Everything started with Feng Qingwu and will end with Feng Qingwu's demise. Besides, Feng Qingwu had killed so many children of the Nangong family, so there was no way he could keep her. So the 3 ancestors who had differences withdrew directly. However, they did not interfere with the family, they just withdrew on their own. More than a dozen ancestors faced Feng Qingwu. The rest of the strong men in the family went to deal with the group of casual cultivators. That battle was very brutal. Only 5 of the dozen or so ancestors who were above the Sun realm survived. He will never forget the scene at that time. Feng Qingwu was dressed in red, with firm eyes and an attitude of never giving in. He injured his soul in that battle and barely escaped with his life. Of course, Feng Qingwu also suffered considerable injuries. After all, several saints chose to self-destruct at that time. In order to prevent the monks below from being injured, Feng Qingwu forcibly resisted the self-destruction of those few. It was also the sacrifices of these few that made them draw with Feng Qingwu. After that, the 8 major families and Feng Qingwu completely stopped fighting. But not long after, he woke up from his recovery and heard the news that Feng Qingwu had died in the God realm. At that moment, his mood was extremely complicated. The first reaction was disbelief. How could Feng Qingwu, who could fight more than a dozen ancestors by himself and still survive, die? When he wanted to go to God realm to check the situation, he found that God was sealed. He wanted to open the seal, but was blocked by Old Man Chanken. He is not afraid of Old Man Chanken. But he was afraid of the Lord Tianyu standing behind Old Man Chanken. That was the 3rd time he saw him. The other party stood not far from Old Man Chanken, looking at him with cold eyes full of murderous intent. The other person's eyes frightened him. He stopped thinking about God, but the eyes of Lord Tianyu seemed to be engraved in his mind. Lingering. At that time, he found a way to enter the depths of Zhenshen clan's small world. He simply pretended to be dead and hid in the small world of Zhenshen. He discovered the palace at that time, but unfortunately he could never find a way to enter it. Even the soul cannot enter. Even the power of divine consciousness cannot cross this gate. So he dug a cave not far from the palace and set up various magic circles in the cave to ensure that his breath would not leak out, and then he could continue practicing with confidence. During this period, he never left the magic circle. But this time was different. He noticed the aura of other monks, and this monk was far weaker than him. The other party also entered the palace that he had longed for. There was no way he could ignore it. He took a fancy to this palace first and planned to enter it when he was strong enough. From the 3-legged golden crow at the entrance, it can be seen that there must be countless good things inside. He saw clearly just now that the token held in the other person's hand was the Nangong family's head order. At this moment, he understood what he had missed. It can be opened with the family leader's command. If he had known earlier, why would he have waited for endless years? The female cultivator in front of him used the family leader's order to enter again, and he decided to wait here. Since the other party could enter twice, she must be able to come out. But before that, he had to set some traps. If you dare to rob his things and steal the Nangong family's patriarch order, you must pay a price. At this moment, his sense of transcendence from the world disappeared. Sister Feng, before entering, I felt the aura of the fragments and the aura of the monks. Feng Jingyu said. Well, the other party has arrived at the door. We will go out and deal with him later. Feng Qingran rubbed Feng Jingyu's head and said. Taking care of the ancestors of the Nangong family is not as important as collecting treasures. Feng Qingran quickly found Feng Zhichu. The calabash vine at the beginning of Fengji was on a cliff, with a section of the vine stretching out, as if it was exploring something. Chu-chu, what's down here? Feng Qingran asked. Master, I feel that there is a familiar atmosphere down here, but there is also an atmosphere that scares me. I dare not go down. Feng Zhichu was confused. Fang Jingyu came to the edge of the cliff and instantly built a suspended swing chair. Fang Jingyu tapped her fingertips, and a few water droplets fell into the cliff. Then Fang Jingyu said seriously, "There is an ancient fierce formation down here, and there is also a dark aura, but this dark aura is yang. The breath of darkness is inherently yin, and it cannot exist in the breath of yang. It's abnormal for these two things that shouldn't blend together to exist together. Moreover, this is the place guarded by the three-legged golden crow, so it is unreasonable to have a dark aura. And in the law, darkness and yang are absolutely opposite. Although what yang represents is broad, it definitely does not include darkness. They may exist in one place, but they should never blend into each other. Is this situation equivalent to the fusion of water and fire?" Fang Qingbran asked. "Yes," Fang Jingyu responded. "The flames that can exist in water are definitely very powerful flames. The dark aura below is definitely the king of dark auras." Fang Qingbran was suddenly very interested in what was underneath. This situation is indeed strange. But Fang Qingbran quickly thought of a possibility. Perhaps the existence of these solar powers is to suppress the dark atmosphere. But after endless years, it could not be suppressed, and the power of the sun was swallowed up by the power of darkness. It's just that darkness is darkness. Even if the power of the sun is forcibly swallowed, there is no way to fuse it. So this illusion was created. Fang Qingbran took out the staff of Quan Chong. "I wonder if the power of darkness below can be subdued." "Sister Fang." "Owner." Fang Jingyu and Fang Zhichu were shocked at the same time. "Don't you want to know what kind of dark power is down there?" Fang Qingbran asked. Fang Jingyu and Fang Zhichu fell into silence at the same time. They are also very curious, but this thing is too dangerous. If one is not good, there will be backlash. Suddenly, Fang Jingyu's eyes lit up. "Sister Fang, why don't you let the candle shine on it? It is the supreme beast in the universe. It is said that it can restrain all darkness." "Really?" Fang Qingbran asked uncertainly. "Candlelight seems to be unable to defeat the mother of decay, right? And isn't Tai Nuing equally powerful as Zhu Zhao?" "Sister Fang, call it out and ask," Fang Jingyu suggested. Zhu Zhao emerged from the space again, his hair instantly exploded, and he jumped away from the edge of the cliff in a few steps. Fang Jingyu looked at Zhu Zhao and said, "Zhu Zhao, go down and conquer that thing. I remember that you can restrain all the power of darkness." Zhu Zhao was speechless. "Fang Jingyu, what are you talking about? I exist to restrain darkness and eliminate evil spirits. I am not able to sweep away all the power of darkness, okay?" After hearing this, Fang Jingyu turned to Fang Qingbran and said, "Sister Fang, Zhu Zhao said it refuses the other person's lower body. Damn moon, you started spreading rumors right in front of me. What do you want to do?" Zhu Zhao roared loudly. "Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore." Chapter 1156 Cover Up. Fang Jingyu blinked innocently, "But isn't that what you meant?" Zhu Zhao said angrily, "What do I mean by this?" "Then you go down and deal with them," Fang Jingyu asked. Zhu Zhao choked. Why did he feel like he was trapped in a trap? Of course Zhu Zhao doesn't want to go down. After all, if he goes down, wouldn't what it hides be exposed? It turned its eyes slightly and looked at Fang Jingyu faintly, so even if it didn't say anything, Fang Jingyu still guessed the possibility. Zhu Zhao is only a little clear at the moment. That means it absolutely cannot go down. In this way, its own abnormality can be concealed. Zhu Zhao suspected that Fang Jingyu wanted to let it go down, and she must be trying to trick it. After all, looking at Fang Jingyu, he already knew the level of the things below. Zhu Zhao thought for a while and said, "There are many kinds of yin and yang in the world. The yin I control is the dark evil spirit, which belongs to the category of living beings. The darkness below does not belong to living beings, but the power of darkness that has existed for a long time. This power can now swallow even the fire of the sun, and I can't solve it even if I go down. Phoenix Master, since they're well sealed underneath, we better not touch them easily. What if we move it, loosen the seal below, and release the thing? It will cause disaster. If we are not careful again and let the things below escape from this palace and the small world of Zhenshin, the entire plane will suffer. This thing is much more dangerous than the mother of decay." Zhu Zhao seriously stated the stakes. It believed that these remarks would definitely dispel Fang Qingbran's desire to take a look below. But before Fang Qingbran could speak, Fang Jingyu spoke first. "So, do you know what's down there?" Fang Qingbran also looked at Zhu Zhao with curious eyes. To be honest, when Zhu Zhao said this, she suddenly hesitated. But that didn't stop her from being curious. "I wonder what kind of dark power is below, which can in turn swallow up the power of the sun." I don't know, I just feel that they're very dangerous, and then I don't want you to take risks." Zhu Zhao's negative voice quickly sounded. Fang Qingbran's eyes darkened a bit when she heard what Zhu Zhao said. Zhu Zhao's words are simply full of loopholes. It said that the things below were powerful and advised her not to touch them, but Zhu Zhao's tone did not show any fear of the things below. But she could tell that Zhu Zhao just didn't want to go down. I don't want her to go down either. As for why Zhu Zhao doesn't want to go down, this reason deserves further investigation. Fang Qingbran suddenly remembered Zhu Zhao's attitude towards the void goo. At that time, Zhu Zhao was deeply wary of the void goo, and his cautious attitude was extremely obvious. At this moment, Zhu Zhao mentioned the things below with no fear in his expression, but with an imperceptible arrogance. It seems that what is below is nothing to it. Through this comparison, Fang Qingbran noticed another detail that she had overlooked. It seems that after coming out of the battlefield of the gods, Zhu Zhao has never used his power in front of her again. Even if he occasionally uses his power, it is extremely weak. Previously, when Zhu Zhao and Xiao Jingyue were fighting in the camp, Zhu Zhao was also surrendered by Xiao Jingyue at once. Has the candlelight become weaker? But Zhu Zhao often practices in the void space, so he should become stronger. Could it be that Zhu Zhao was injured while guarding the soul-eating goo? Fang Qingbran took the initiative and slipped her arms around the back of Zhu Zhao's neck. "Zhu Zhao, are you injured?" "No," Zhu Zhao denied quickly. This eager attitude seems to be deliberately concealing something. Fang Qingran stared at Zhu Zhao sharply. Are you sure? Zhu Zhao's twinkling eyes told her that perhaps it was not just the injury. Master Phoenix, I'm really not hurt. I just don't want to go down and deal with that thing. I'm afraid we will be in danger, Zhu Zhao said. At this moment, it was slightly panicked, fearing that Fang Qingran would notice more abnormalities. Fang Qingran saw the look in Zhu Zhao's eyes clearly and said seriously, Zhu Zhao, if you don't want to say it, I won't force you, but remember, we are partners. She used the soul contract to feel Zhu Zhao's aura, and there was nothing unusual. Logically speaking, if Zhu Zhao was seriously injured, she would be able to sense it. But according to the contract inspection, there was nothing unusual about Zhu Zhao. Fang Qingran was wondering if Zhu Zhao's current state might be related to Tan Yuing. Zhu Zhao, you go back to space to cultivate first. Fang Qingran sent Zhu Zhao back to the void space. Seeing this, Fang Jingyu said nothing. On the other hand, Fang Zhiqiu became confused. It felt that there was something wrong with the aura on Zhu Zhao's body. But what exactly is wrong, it cannot detect. Let's not talk about the bad things for now. Fang Zhiqiu finally chose to remain silent. After all, Zhu Zhao's strength doesn't need to be worried about. Sister Fang, there is a seal down there, and the aura is very dangerous, why don't we forget it? Fang Jingyu said. She proposed to let Zhu Zhao come out, firstly to test Zhu Zhao, and secondly because she really wanted Zhu Zhao to explore the way. She also didn't want Fang Qingran to take risks. How can we forget about something we have already obtained? Fang Qingran said. Things down there are really dangerous. But no matter how dangerous things are, they are also the power of darkness, and she still has ways to deal with them. She didn't feel at ease leaving this thing here. After all, the power of the seal is weakening little by little. If the things inside, after being fused with the power of the sun, open the seal and come out, the entire small world will be in danger. In that case, the first one to encounter danger must be Fang Si. Fang Si is still refining the power of inheritance, and it will be very dangerous if he is disturbed. She didn't want to leave any hidden dangers to Fang Si. Then Sister Fang, you wait here. I'll go down to explore those things first. If there's no danger, you can come down again. Fang Jingyu said and was about to take action. Fang Qingran's hand fell on Fang Jingyu's head. Didn't you already use the Moonlight Divine Water to explore it? If you can go down, you wouldn't be so entangled, right? Fang Jingyu is a very powerful spirit, born with the ability to restrain all living beings. But Zhu Zhao has already said that the things below are not living things. In addition, Fang Jingyu's true body has not yet been found, so her own strength is still limited. Fang Jingyu looked at Fang Qingran without blinking and said, Sister Fang, I really can't hide anything from you. The power of darkness below is a very strong force. And this power has already given birth to spiritual wisdom. It is difficult to completely surrender with just the staff of Quan Chong. This kind of dark power will directly devour the creatures that are approaching. Even if it cannot devour, this power will not easily let go of the creatures it encounters. Sister Fang, the power of darkness is corrosive to the monk's sea of consciousness. I'm very afraid. I can't stop the power of darkness below from hurting you. Fang Jingyu expressed her worries. She didn't know which category the dark power below belonged to. One thing is certain, it is definitely an extremely terrifying and powerful force. Because of this, she didn't want Sister Fang to go down. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1157 Strengthening the Seal. The power of darkness has a natural restraint on monks. It is an extremely dangerous existence. Because Dongji controlled the force of darkness, he was able to completely master the way of devouring, complete cross-level killings, and leave a reputation that was feared by all the powerful. The way to swallow. Could it be? Fang Jingyu thought of this and suddenly looked at Fang Qingran with wide eyes. Sister Fang, you don't want to use the power below to practice Tao, do you? Apart from this possibility, Fang Jingyu could not think of the second reason why Fang Qingran insisted on going down. Yes, it's what you think. Fang Qingran nodded. Didn't Dongji refuse to teach you the way of devouring before? Fang Jingyu asked in shock. Dongji was able to practice the way of devouring at that time, but he almost became a puppet of devouring. If he hadn't been lucky enough to receive an inheritance, he would have ceased to exist long ago. No one can say how difficult this road will be. Although all cultivation paths are difficult, this one is especially difficult. No one would practice this way unless they were desperate. Therefore, not only Dongji did not want Fang Qingran to practice the method of devouring, but Xian Yanyu also did not want Fang Qingran to practice this method. He didn't agree at first, but later he still gave me a copy of the inherited memory and let me make my own decision. Fang Qingran said. When Dongji rejected her before, he refused very decisively. He even hid when he saw her, fearing that she would ask him about the way of devouring. It's just that she has a reason to practice the way of devouring. At that time, Dongji listened to her words and after a long silence, he still gave her inheritance. Before passing on the inheritance, Dongji warned her that because her starting point in cultivation was too high, she had practiced several powerful ways. The way to practice will become even more difficult. She must first find a particularly high-level dark power, refine the dark power, and use it freely before she can practice the way of devouring. And once you start practicing the way of devouring, before you have completely mastered the way of devouring, you can no longer practice other ways. The way of devouring is a very domineering and vicious way. There is a sense of self-respect. If you practice the way of devouring and continue to practice other ways, it is a very dangerous thing. If the consciousness of the devouring way senses that its master has practiced other ways, it will choose to devour other ways. If it fails to devour it, it may attack its owner. There is a natural consciousness in the way of swallowing, and if you can't get it, it will be destroyed. Because from the perspective of the consciousness of the devouring Tao, its master will be its puppet sooner or later, and must not be contaminated by other Tao. As for the Tao that Fang Qingran has mastered, it doesn't matter as long as he is swallowed and not noticed. However, the accomplished Tao itself is higher than the devouring Tao, and under normal circumstances, the devouring Tao would not be discovered. In short, practicing the way of devouring means putting yourself in a dangerous place, where you may die at any time. If you are not careful, you may be destroyed by the way of devouring. This is why the way of devouring is so powerful and there are so few practitioners. Of course Fang Qingran knew the dangers of the devouring way, but she had chosen the path of harmony over the course of time, and she was bound to practice the devouring way. In fact, there are several ways that are at the same level of danger as the way of devouring, but she can only sense those ways, but she doesn't know what they are. She wants to control all the laws and regulations related to the three periods of Taichu, Hongmeng and Chaos. Some of these laws can be practiced by her with the help of the Hongmeng tree, while others require her to explore and find them. After all, the Hongmeng tree suffered backlash back then, and its own Taoism was also incomplete. Now, both she and Hongmeng need help from each other, and this relationship will be the most stable. Only when each can provide value to the other is the best balance. Sister Fang, just do whatever you want to do, I will accompany you. Fang Jingyu did not stop Fang Qingran in the end. When Sister Fang mentioned the practice of swallowing, her eyes were bright, which proved that Sister Fang was measured. Fang Qingran touched Fang Jingyu's head. Don't worry, I cherish my life. After Fang Qingran finished speaking, she flipped her wrist and a red dragon scale appeared in her palm. But this dragon scale is slightly different from the dragon scales on the dragon. It is crystal clear, oval in shape, and has smooth edges, much like carefully polished scales. Both sides of the dragon scales are engraved with complex ancient texts, and their abilities hide the power of profound laws. Scale of the Candle Dragon, Fang Jingyu said in surprise. Yes, this is a complete Candle Dragon scale, with the ability to reverse time and space. Fang Qingran said. The Candle Dragon scale she got in the battlefield of the gods was incomplete. Later, when she went to the land abandoned by the gods to find the gods, Patriarch Yanshang discovered the aura of the Candle Dragon scale and used the power of law to repair it. Now she is strong enough to activate the Candle Dragon scale at a critical moment. Okay, Fang Jingyu breathed a sigh of relief obviously. Seeing this, Fang Qingran said, you and Chuchu will go back to the void space, and then I will go and pack the things down there. Fang Qingran raised his hand to take Fang Shichu and Fang Jingyu back into space. The god-killing spear and Wang Gui ran out again. One stands on the left and the other on the right. Fang Qingran flew down to the bottom of the cliff without hesitation. The moment she went down, before she had settled down, Fang Qingran felt a strong aura envelope her whole body. And she didn't fall directly to the bottom of the cliff. In front of him is a faint sealing barrier. The sigils on the barrier flickered, and there were cracks in the seal. The aura that enveloped Fang Qingran did not harm her. Just to shock her and drive her away. It seemed that he didn't want her to continue exploring. The steps in Fang Qing's dyed hair now showed a faint purple color. Fang Qingran put her hand on the barrier and sensed the things inside the barrier. Instantly, an extremely frightening feeling surged deep in her soul, making her shudder. There is even an illusion that you are already in a terrifying place. She had experienced this feeling when she used the devouring way in Dongji, as if anyone who was close to him would fall into an inexplicable fear. This can lead to a sense of hopelessness and powerlessness. Even wanting to fall into the abyss and never wake up. Fang Qingran realized that she really had this thought, and the corners of her lips raised slightly. She was not afraid at all, but rather excited. The stronger the power of darkness below, the more beneficial it is to her. Fang Qingran retracted his hand from the barrier, took out dozens of ancient array discs with his backhand, and strengthened the barrier and seal. Fang Qingran reached out and touched the barrier again, sensing the aura within it. This time, in addition to feeling fear, there was also an inexplicable anger, and even a sense of confusion. Fang Qingran pretended to murmur inadvertently, this formation seems not strong enough, but I don't have a more powerful formation disc in my hand, what should I do? How about putting up a few law talismans? Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1158, I have a grudge against you, additional update. It is this kind of talisman that consumes the power of the soul to draw. With my current strength, after drawing the law talisman, it will probably consume all the strength of the body. In that case, I may need to restore my strength here. It seems not safe here. What if I encounter danger while I am practicing? It's so difficult, how to choose. After Fang Qingran finished speaking, she immediately noticed an emotion in her heart, which seemed to be urging her to give up quickly. Then there was a feeling of wanting to leave this place quickly. This emotion is slightly rushed. Fang Qingran's eyes flashed with dark light, and he added a dozen ancient formations to the previous seal. Forget it, let's not draw the talisman. Using thousands of formation discs should have the same effect as the law talisman. Fang Qingran finished talking to himself, with a rather proud smile on his face. Then dozens of formation discs were used to repair the seal. After the number of formation discs increased, the cracks on the seal disappeared one by one. Fang Qingran continued to use the formation disc to repair the seal without blinking. Anyway, she has countless ancient array discs in her hand. After using these, I don't feel any pain at all. Besides, she integrated these array discs into the seal, so she could enter them without destroying the barrier. She just wanted to go in, but didn't want the things inside to come out. So before completely entering the bottom of the cliff, she had to make sure that her entry would not cause the seal to collapse. He will not let the power of darkness slip away. The cracks in the seal disappeared one by one, and Fang Qingran noticed that the fear in her heart disappeared, and was replaced bit by various messy emotions. In the end, there was only extreme anger and a trace of speechlessness. Fang Qingran withdrew his hand from the barrier, but these emotions did not disappear, but became more intense. Fang Qingran felt that the time was almost up and dodged directly into the barrier. When she repaired the seal, she also carved her breath into it, so that when she passed through the seal, she would not be blocked. When Fang Qingran stepped into the bottom of the cliff, she did not feel the chill as expected. Instead, it felt like a place that had been illuminated by the scorching sun all year round. It doesn't look like a place where the power of darkness is sealed. Did you guess wrong before? This place actually exists due to the power of Ji Yang. The power of the sun also includes the kind that burns all things. This power of the sun, which destroys all things, is far more terrifying than the power of darkness. Or maybe there are actually two auras suppressed here. There was indeed warmth at the bottom of the cliff, but there was no light. Fang Qingran only heard the sound of wind in her ears. The power of divine consciousness could not be released here, and was suppressed by some kind of force. She took out a special luminous pearl and illuminated the bottom of the cliff. There is a narrow path on both sides, extending to the end of darkness. The god-killing spear chose the left, and Wang Guibana chose the right. Just after they were a little distance away from Fang Qingran, something unexpected happened. A powerful force appeared around Fang Qingran, and he disappeared at the bottom of the cliff with Fang Qingran. The god-killing spear and 10,000 ghost flags instantly lost Fang Qingran's aura. They seemed a little anxious and turned around in circles a few times. Floated out of the bottom of the cliff, jumped through space, and came to a palace. This time there are no treasures or treasure chests in the palace. Only the person sitting in the middle of the hall and the mural not far away were left. The god-killing spear stepped forward and poked holes in the man's clothes. As usual, Wang Guibana was a slap in the face. He seemed to want to vent his anger on the palace owner. While the god-killing spear and 10,000 ghost banners were moving continuously for half a moment, a powerful force threw him out, and then the entire hall disappeared. The place where the god-killing spear and the 10,000 ghost flags were located turned into a square. In the middle of the square stands a statue of a character. The statue drags the chaos clock in its hand. A hollow and distant voice sounded. You two, don't go too far. You've said it again and again, and you won't hit someone in the face. How dare you humiliate my previous contractor like this? Aren't you afraid that I will kill your current contractor? The voice fell. The god-killing spear and the 10,000 ghost banners circled the square several times, but could not find the source of the sound. So they prepared to perform the same operation again. Only this time, they didn't touch the statue. A protective barrier was raised outside the statue. The voice said angrily, "What do you two mean? My former contractor doesn't have any deep grudge against you, right? Why do you treat him like this? We have no grudge against him, we only have grudge against you. If you show up, we will not do this to your contractor." A steady voice came from the god-killing gun. They resolved the grievances between the contractors themselves. As weapons, they will only remember the breath of the weapon spirit. As for the enemies of the contractor, sometimes they will choose to remember it, and sometimes they will ignore it. It and Wang Guiban were not contracted before, so how could it have a grudge against Dong Huang Taiyi at the same time? After a long silence, the distant voice just now was a little dull and said, "When did I have a grudge against you? Wasn't it always fighting between contractors before? Why should it be upgraded to weapons?" The god-killing spear let out a cold cry, and of course it would not say the reason. The Wang Gui banner also has the same attitude. Although it is very harmonious with the god-killing spear, it was only after many times that it was defeated. The weapon spirit inside the god-killing spear is as domineering as its former contractor. You have to fight for the first place in weapons. Unbeknownst to Fang Qingran, the god-killing spear had already struck all the weapon spirits in the void space. Except for the weapon spirits of Qingluan's sword and Kaitian axe, other weapon spirits are basically no match for the god-killing spear weapon spirit. In short, it is very much looking forward to the scene where the Chaos Bell spirit is going to be beaten. After all, from this moment, we know that the Chaos Bell artifact spirit is weaker than the god-killing spear artifact spirit. If you don't come out, then you'd better hide and never come out. The god-killing spear spirit threatened. You. The Chaos Bell spirit seemed to be very angry and said angrily, "Don't you want to save your current contractor? If you destroy her, nothing will happen to her. She is the most satisfactory successor. Don't you already know this? Otherwise, how could you seduce her?" God-killing spear spirit said. There was another long silence. The Chaos Bell artifact spirit seemed a little angry and said unconvinced. Even if she is the one chosen, that is her in the future, and she is far from reaching that level now. Also, her status is just that of the successor, and it is not official. Also, since you have followed her, you should know better than me how weak she is now, right? In that palace just now, I released a small pressure and she was suppressed by me. It's up to you to come forward. The Chaos Bell artifact spirit became proud again when he said this. God-killing spear, are you sure that she can handle the things at the bottom of the cliff? Oh, I forgot. You don't seem to know what exactly is being suppressed at the bottom of the cliff. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1159 Xuanwang Qi, Golden Ticket 2. God-killing spear, do you want to know what is suppressing at the bottom of the cliff? I will tell you as long as you ask me. The voice of the Chaos Bell spirit is no longer distant, but has a mean smell. The God-killing spear exuded coercion and quickly spread to the entire square. God-killing spear, what do you want to do? Don't be impulsive, why don't you let me tell you? Hurry up and put away the pressure. Chaos Bell spirit said anxiously. Sure enough, the God-killing spear remained as absolutely loyal to its contractor as before. Chaos Bell spirit said, back then, when my former contractor was fighting in the wilderness and quelling a disaster, he discovered the thing at the bottom of the cliff. It was that thing that caused a series of cosmic catastrophes. So he gave the thing to an ancestor of the Genshin clan. Let him find a way to suppress that thing. The ancestor suppressed the thing at the bottom of the cliff and set up a seal and barrier. But even if there is a seal and a barrier, that thing will still emit an aura to lure the ignorant juniors of the Genshin clan to come here and lure them to break the seal. A few weak juniors almost opened the seal below. The ancestors of the Genshin clan can't do anything about this. After all, that thing cannot be destroyed, it can only be suppressed. So the ancestor set up a palace outside and asked the three-legged golden crow to guard the entire palace to suppress the thing, but it still didn't work. Later, he thought of a way to find something that could specifically restrain the existence of that thing, and seal them together in it. This was very effective at first, but the thing never tempted the juniors of the Genshin clan again, and its aura became weaker and weaker. After my former contractor died, I also entered this place and looked at those two things. Everything was normal. But since the fall of the Zhenshin clan and the monks of the Nangong family often entered here, the suppressed thing gradually recovered, and even almost surpassed the Xuanwang Qi that suppressed it. I can only take action in time and reverse part of time and space, so that the Xuanwang Qi and that thing can maintain a balance. However, the Xuanwang Qi was eventually defeated by that thing and was swallowed up by that thing. Finally, the thing began to hit the barrier. Just when I thought the barrier would be broken, the black and yellow energy appeared again, and they devoured each other with that thing. Then, two groups of unknown things were born below. They now often work together to hit the barrier. Sometimes they often fight each other and devour each other. In short, they love and kill each other and fall in love again. I can only reverse time and space when they hit the seal to prevent the barrier from breaking. Fortunately, I am strong enough to be able to. Idiot. Hearing this, idiot, sound, the Chaos Bell Spirit got stuck. It's not its own sound. Realizing that these words were spoken by the God-killing spear weapon spirit, the Chaos Bell weapon spirit was very angry. You. God-killing spear, don't go too far. I protect the common people so much, and you actually scold me. There was grievance in the Chaos Bell spirit's voice. The God-killing spear weapon spirit smiled mockingly. They have been struggling for so long, but they're fine. On the contrary, you have tortured yourself into this, don't you even notice? The Chaos Bell spirit fell into silence, seeming to be thinking about something. The Chaos weapon spirit asked weakly, what do I look like? The God-killing spear weapon spirit said, as a weapon spirit, your contract owner has died. The best way is to fall into deep sleep, otherwise your own strength will continue to be depleted. You should be very clear about this, right? And if you reverse time and space many times without a contractor, it will only accelerate the loss of your own strength. When your power is exhausted and you have no contractors, what is waiting for you? You can only disappear into the long river of history like your master and cease to exist. They devour each other and attack each other's seals. Don't you see something? They did it completely on purpose. The Xuanwang Qi has been infiltrated with that thing for a long time. I'm afraid it is no longer the original Xuanwang Qi. They're now working in collusion. Only you, a fool, are supporting them to grow. After the God-killing spear spirit explained, he asked, isn't this stupid or something? The Chaos Bell artifact spirit fell completely silent. The barrier on the statue was also removed. Realizing this, the God-killing spear weapon spirit realized that it had guessed correctly and the chaos clock had been used. Innate treasures like them can exist alone, but it is best to have a contractor. Contracting with a contractor brings benefits to both parties. They can exert greater power. It will become stronger as the contractor becomes stronger. Don't worry about running out of power. After all, the contractor's own strength can be replenished through practice. Of course, their contractors must not be weak. The strength of the weak in their contract cannot be seen in a short time, but in a long time you will find that they're dragging each other down. If a weak person uses it once, they may exhaust their power. They may also need to supplement the strength of the weak in turn, so that they cannot exert their own power. All innate treasures have the existence of weapon spirits. So when they choose their master, they only choose the strong one or the one who can be the strong one in the future. Then, the God-killing spears, if they have grown up, they may be even more powerful now. I'm afraid your contractor won't be able to cope with it. Let's hurry over and save her, shall we? I don't know what kind of mental journey the Chaos Bell artifact spirit has gone through. Now his attitude has become cautious and slightly flattering. No, Lord Phoenix doesn't need us to hold him back, God-killing spear spirit said firmly. Fang Qingran was not powerful just because he was chosen by that person. But he was chosen because of his greatness. This matter has an effect first and a cause later. It and Wangui banner follow Fang Qingran, and they're just like soy sauce. They can be displayed from time to time, and they only need to come out occasionally. Even if Fang Qingran uses weapons, he rarely summons weapon spirits to help. How is this possible? Don't fool me with the God-killing spear. How could she, a small origin master, be able to deal with those two things? Chaos Bell weapon spirit asked unconvincingly. There was a hint of anxiety in his voice. After saying the God-killing spear just now, it immediately went back to its main body to check its power. This investigation revealed a terrible thing. Its power of chaos is running low. If we don't find a contractor, I'm afraid it won't exist for long. As a weapon spirit that existed during the chaos period, it has experienced endless years and has long understood what death means. So it must leave here quickly and find a suitable contractor. It's best to have a contractor who can provide it with the power of chaos. She can. After the God-killing spear spirit finished speaking with determination, he said to Wangui banner in a nonchalant manner, not long ago, little mushroom planted a mushroom with the power of chaos. Did you know? Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1160 Hongmeng Purple Qi. After the God-killing spear weapon spirit finished speaking, before Wangui banner's weapon spirit could respond, a shadow quickly rushed to the God-killing spear weapon and asked anxiously, are you telling the truth? In an instant, the temperature in the entire square dropped sharply. Countless terrifying pressures spread and shrouded the surroundings of the phantom. The shadow looks like a chaos clock. When the pressure restrained it, it seemed to react. I immediately wanted to escape. The phantom hit the first layer of barrier and was bounced back to the God-killing spear. The shadow trembled and said cautiously, God-killing spear, I am not the weapon spirit of the Chaos Bell. I am here to ask you questions on its behalf. Ha ha ha, God-killing spear, it is a fool, it thinks we are just like it. Wangui banner laughed happily, and the flag trembled in the air. Wangui banner, shut up. The Chaos Bell spirit said angrily. A little bit, what I said is not wrong. I suggest you improve your sanity and talk to me again. Wangui banner artifact spirit teased. The Chaos Bell trembled with energy, you 10,000 ghost banners, do you really think that I dare not beat you? If you keep talking nonsense, I will definitely beat you. I am much more powerful than you. Come on, you are a weakling now. Don't talk about me. Even if you pick up an acquired spiritual treasure, you may not be able to defeat it. Wangui banner weapon spirit said arrogantly. If it had encountered the chaos clock before, it would have definitely avoided it. But now not only will it not avoid it, but it will also laugh at the other party. From the phantom transformed by the Chaos Bell Spirit, it is easy to see its current strength. The Chaos Bell Spirit trembled violently again. Wangui Banner, no matter how weak I am, I can still find ways to beat you. You'd better not anger me. The Wangui Banner Weapon Spirit said indifferently, what can you do if I make you angry? Use the chaotic energy in your body to fight me head on. Forcefully suppress me for a period of time, and then perform a disappearing technique on me. After the power of the Chaos Clock is exhausted, all that is waiting for it is to dissipate. The Chaos Bell Artifact Spirit was speechless this time, and the Wangui Banner Artifact Spirit was alright. It really had no way to fight against the Wangui Banner now. Although the energy of chaos can naturally suppress the Mangui Banner, the aura within the Mangui Banner is very complicated. All dark auras such as yin energy, resentment energy, dark energy, etc. can be absorbed and stored by Wangui Banner Artifact Spirit. So if we talk about power alone, not only it, but also the God-killing spear does not store as much power as the Mangui Banner. During the prehistoric period, because of this, the weapon spirit of 10,000 ghost banners could not advance to the next level as quickly as it or the God-killing spear weapon spirit. There are levels of hierarchy among weapons, and of course there are also levels among weapons and spirits. The level of a newborn weapon spirit basically depends on the weapon level. Of course, it also depends on the time and place where the weapon spirit develops its sanity. There are also weapons whose weapon spirits are not derived from the weapon, but the spirit body actively enters the weapon and becomes the weapon spirit. If the weapon spirit wants to improve its level, it must have a contractor. The weapon spirit itself cannot be cultivated using the power within the weapon. They can only advance with the contractor. The higher the level of the weapon spirit, the more powerful the weapon can be. There is also a type of artifact that can be promoted with the weapon spirit, from artifact to super artifact, and then to become a treasure step by step. As for whether it is an innate treasure or an acquired treasure, it depends on the way the weapon itself was born. If a weapon is derived from chaos, it is naturally an innate treasure. If in later generations, weapons refined by god-level weapon refiners would be acquired treasures. Of course, it is very difficult for weapons refined by later generations of weapon refiners to be promoted to acquired treasures. This is not only related to the weapon refiner, but also related to the current world. Under the current laws of heaven and earth, it is extremely difficult for weapons to produce weapon spirits. Weapons without a weapon spirit naturally have no way to advance with the weapon spirit. It is extremely difficult for weapons that are refined the day after tomorrow to produce weapon spirits independently. If the acquired weapons want to have weapon spirits, they can only capture those spirits, inject them into the weapons, and then refine the spirits into weapon spirits. But there are also various risks in this process. It is possible that the spirit body was destroyed along with the weapon. The weapon refiner may also suffer backlash in the process. Even if there are these dangers, there are still many weapon refiners who are obsessed with infusing weapons with spirit. Just because there are weapon spirits, the upper limit of weapons will become higher. However, no matter how much acquired weapons are improved, they're still unable to compare with innate weapons. As the weapon spirit of the Chaos Bell, it is unmatched by other weapon spirits. Even the God-killing spear and 10,000 ghost banners from the same period were ranked behind it. So it has never been as angry as it is today. The God-killing spear weapon spirit is on the same level as it. If you scold it, you will accept it. But the Mangui banner is obviously one level lower than it, so why can you laugh at it? The more the Chaos Bell spirit thought about it, the more aggrieved it became. It completely forgot what it was doing when it jumped out. It stared at Wangui banner and said, "How dare you do this to me? Just wait." The shadow of the Chaos Bell spirit flashed. The shadow was dyed with a light purple color. Wang Weibin, who was still extremely arrogant, suddenly hid behind the god-killing spear. "Boss, why does this kid still have Hongmeng purple chi?" Wangui banner Chi Ling asked with a hint of regret. "The chaos clock is so hidden." No, it should be said that the former contractor of Chaos Bell is really good enough for it. He could actually give out a wisp of Hongmeng purple chi to a weapon spirit. This is its last strength to ensure that it can survive for a while after its strength is exhausted. The god-killing spear weapon spirit said calmly. Purple chi is indeed powerful. Even if it sees it at its peak, it must avoid its edge. But, it doesn't have to be afraid now. Chaos Bell, I advise you to put away your Hongmeng purple chi, otherwise no one can save you. God-killing spear spirit advised. The reason why the Chaos Bell artifact spirit still exists well today. It can even control the folding space, all thanks to this wisp of Hongmeng purple chi. If the Chaos Bell artifact spirit uses the Hongmeng purple chi, then all that is waiting for the other party is death. The god-killing spear weapon spirit also wanted to understand at this moment. The two things below were constantly tossing the Chaos Bell weapon spirit, and they were probably coveting the Hongmeng purple chi inside them. However, their efforts are probably in vain. But it laughed at me. The Chaos Bell spirit said aggrievedly. Then you laugh at it too, and you will be even. God-killing spear spirit said. There is still a subtext left unsaid about the god-killing gun weapon spirit. After it was even, it was time to deal with the Chaos Bell spirit. It was so arrogant just now, and naturally it had to pay the price for it. The Wangui banner artifact spirit begged for mercy. "Boss, don't push me out. I promise to support you to become the boss of the artifact spirit in the future." The god-killing spear dodged directly, exposing Wangui banner in front of the shadow. The virtual shadow exudes the aura of Hongmeng purple energy, which is mysterious and dangerous. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1161, a series of ghost chapters. The Wangui banner weapon spirit instantly felt the suppression of Hongmeng's purple energy. Wangui Ban Chi Ling said sincerely, "Well, Chaos Bell, I admit that my voice was a bit loud just now. I am not laughing at you, I just have a loud voice. Actually, the me just now is not me. You also know that there are all kinds of resentment and yin energy in my space. These things are the most likely to affect the mind. It was really not me who was laughing at you just now, it was the resentment that Mangui Banner had that was laughing at you. It was jealous of you being too good, so it used me to vent its emotions. That chaos clock, I'm sorry, can you forgive me? Mangui Hata said a lot of words in an extremely sincere voice. The Chaos Bell Strit asked stupidly, really? The god-killing gun weapon Strit was speechless, it was indeed a banner of 10,000 ghosts, and it was full of nonsense. The Wangui Banner weapon Strit responded immediately, really, you also know that our weapon Strits can be affected by weapons and have their minds affected. I was born to live in resentment and can only become moody. Hey, Chaos Clock, I envy you so much for being so kind by nature. If I were half as kind as you, I wouldn't be like this. Every time Wang Gifen speaks, the sincerity in his attitude can be heard. The Chaos Bell artifact spread slowly withdrew the Hongmeng purple chi, and said proudly, then I forgive you, you can't do this next time. Wangui Ban Chi Ling, is it so easy to deceive? There's really no sense of accomplishment. Mangui Hata thought so, but he said, definitely not. I have been infected by your kindness. I will be a kind Strit in the future. The god-killing spear calmed down its pressure a little and decided not to deal with the Chaos Bell Strit for the time being. Well, what is the mushroom of the power of chaos you mentioned before? Chaos Bell Strit asked sheepishly. This, I know, let me tell you. Wangui Banner artifact Strit spoke actively. The Phoenix Master has a mushroom in his hand. That mushroom is magical. It can grow many mushrooms containing the power of chaos. The power of chaos inside is very pure. We all like to lie down and sleep in the pile of mushrooms. It's a pity that I am only a weapon Strit and cannot eat mushrooms. Otherwise, I must eat those mushrooms to replenish the power of chaos. Mangui said very excitedly. The god-killing spear knocked on the Wangui Banner. Do you need the power of chaos? Don't mess up the show. Phoenix Master really wants the chaos clock. Mangui Hata, don't worry, the performance is not bad, I deliberately showed flaws. The next moment, Chaos Clock snorted coldly, you lied to me, you can't absorb the power of chaos at all, what do you want to do? Mangui likes Yin Chi. Although it does not reject the power of chaos, it will not actively absorb the power of chaos. Chaos Clock feels that he is very smart. He actually immediately saw through the loophole in Wang Gifen's words. That Chaos Clock, don't get me wrong, I was actually lying to you just now. There are very few mushrooms in that chaos power. You can only grow one small mushroom at a time, and you need to rest for a long time after that. Wang Gifen's voice was a little dull. Boring. The sudden change made Chaos Clock momentarily confused. How long does it take to grow one? Chaos Clock asked. I don't know this, only the Phoenix Master knows. After all, the little mushrooms are contracted by the Phoenix Master, and the Chaos mushrooms are naturally the Phoenix Master's property. Wang Giben said. How big is Phoenix Master's Sea of Consciousness? How many weapons can she contract? How many weapons does she have now? Chaos Clock asked cautiously. After asking, Chaos Clock immediately added, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to steal the contractor from you, I'm just curious about why she can contract with Chaos Mushroom. The last sentence of Chaos Clock seems to be trying to hide the truth. However, Wang Giben did not choose to expose it, but said, I don't know much about it. I don't dare to probe into the Phoenix Master's Sea of Consciousness at will. I am only its contracted weapon. I can't always observe her. Know the sea. Wangui Banner made Chaos Clock fall into deep thought. Afraid to go deeper. Even Wangui Banner dare not go deep into the Sea of Consciousness. It must be a level of strength. The Phoenix Master was actually able to contract the 10,000 Ghost Banner and the God-Killing Spear at the same time, and he was accompanied by the Eye of the Moon, the Candlelight, the Ancient Gourd Vine, and the Chaos Spiritual Mushroom. This shows that Feng Qingren's Sea of Consciousness is very vast and boundless. Only when the Sea of Consciousness is wide enough can the soul and soul be strong enough, so that they can contract so many things. Maybe it could choose to make a contract with Feng Qingran. God-Killing Spear was right about one thing. There was a certain reason why Feng Qingran was chosen. They all originate from that person, and naturally we must respect and support the person's choices. It was a treasure chest that was placed on the road to lure Feng Qingran, but Feng Qingran was able to refuse the temptation to open the treasure chest. Such a perseverant person is very suitable to make a contract with it. But how can it get Feng Qingran to take the initiative to make a contract with it? After meeting Feng Qingran, he must make a good plan. Oops. The Chaos Bell said anxiously to the 10,000 Ghost Banners and the God-Killing Spear, we have to hurry up to save the Phoenix Lord. We can't wait here. Those two things below are very cunning. The God-Killing Spear God is here, no need to go, Phoenix Master will be back soon. Chaos Bell became even more anxious, God-Killing Spear, we can trust Phoenix Master, but we can't trust what's below. They're really dangerous. My former contractor was injured while dealing with them. This injury was extremely special and could not be healed, which led to his subsequent demise. That thing cannot be destroyed, it can only be suppressed, but now even the Xuanwang power that can suppress it can't do anything to it, we can't wait here. Chaos Bell speaks very fast, as if it is afraid of wasting time. If it hadn't been for the barrier set up by the God-Killing Spear, it would almost no longer be here. Chaos Bell, you look so anxious, you don't know, you think Phoenix Lord is your contractor. Wang Giben said. Chaos Bell felt guilty for a while, but he still said confidently, Wangui Banner, am I not worried for you? If your contractor is injured or lost, you will also be affected. It had personally felt the aura of those two things and had dealt with them. Just can't do anything about them at all. So I can only keep reversing time and space, let time go back to the past, and prevent the thing from coming out. Feng Qingran was the chosen successor, and he also had the aura of that person. Chaos Bell was really afraid that those two things would attack Feng Qingran. It would be fine if they just wanted to control Feng Qingran. I'm just afraid that they want to become Feng Qingran. That would be a very bad situation. They would swallow up Feng Qingran's soul, leaving her no chance of survival. After becoming Feng Qingran, wouldn't they be able to control the God-Killing Spear and the 10,000 Ghost Banners? Then, use the God-Killing Spear and the Wangui Banner to deal with it. The more the Chaos Spell Spirit thought about it, the more frightened and anxious he became. God-killing spear, 10,000 ghost banners, are you going to save the Phoenix Master? Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1162, 9 Yin and 9 Yang Qi, more updates. No, Wangui Banner and God-killing spear said at the same time. Okay, you don't want to go, right. Open the barrier on the God-killing spear, and I'll go and save the Phoenix Master myself. Chaos Bell said slightly angrily. The God-killing spear and the 10,000 ghost banners have really changed. In the era of chaos, as weapon spirits derived from innate treasures, they were also the earliest weapons to possess sanity. At that time, they will always rush to the front and do their best to protect the contractors. However, now they are starting to deteriorate. The same attitude towards contractors in danger. The God-killing spear opened the pressure barrier, and in an instant, the Chaos Bell rushed out. Before leaving, he left 3 words, God-killing spear, 10,000 ghost banners, I'm so disappointed in you. Do you still remember that time? You used to be able to scare the powerful interfere as soon as you came out, but now you no longer have the majesty you once had. When Mankahata heard this, he burst into laughter. After laughing, Wang Giban sighed, I was quite smart when I followed Dong Huang Tai, but why has he become like this now? The God-killing spear said, it wasn't it that was smart back then, it was its contractor. Wang Giban nodded in agreement, Dong Huang Tai was indeed extremely intelligent. Then Wang Giban asked mysteriously, Boss, do we really not care about Phoenix Master? Aren't you afraid of what might happen? Are you afraid? God-killing spear asked. Bottom of the cliff. Fang Qingbran was dragged into a space. The space is very wide and surrounded by stone walls. The entire space was dilapidated as far as the eye could see. The surrounding stone walls are covered with cracks of varying depths. There are large and small potholes everywhere on the ground. In the space, thousands of giant pillars all collapsed and were broken into sections, lying messily everywhere. Compared with the battlefield of gods, this place is even worse. It can be seen at a glance that a fierce battle broke out here. The surrounding stone walls and giant pillars are not made of ordinary stone. They are all refined from the god-level gold origin stone. It is not an easy task to leave traces on the god-level gold origin stone. There are also these fallen giant pillars, and ancient talismans can still be vaguely seen. The giant pillars are not there to support this place. They exist for the magic circle. It's a pity that it was completely destroyed in the end. Therefore, the seals and barriers at the bottom of the cliff are the last layer of obstacles. This time is the first ceiling seen. Fang Qingbran looked around. It was obviously a vast place, but it gave her a depressing and strange feeling. It's not as good as the bottom of the cliff. It was dark at the bottom of the cliff, but she could feel the warmth. But here, she didn't feel good at all. All kinds of bad emotions were intertwined and magnified infinitely. If she hadn't sealed her emotions in advance, I'm afraid I might go crazy or have inner demons at this moment. Fang Qingbran did not move, but stood quietly in the middle of the entire space, releasing the power of his consciousness bit by bit. The moment the power of divine consciousness was released, she felt like she was being targeted by something. To be precise, there were 2 kinds of breaths trying to enter her sea of consciousness. A breath of coldness. A breath of heat. While they were competing with each other, they were each trying to find a way to enter her sea of consciousness. Sister Fang, do you want me to go out? Fang Jingyu's voice sounded in the sea of consciousness. It's okay, I have a way to deal with them. Fang Qingbran said confidently. Purple light appeared on the top of Fang Qingbran's head, and a faint green mark appeared between her eyebrows. Her eyes were far-reaching, as if she wanted to see the void. Fang Qingbran said to one place, aren't you coming out yet? Fang Qingbran looked straight, as if she was not looking at anything, but also as if she could see everything. Want to leave here? Fang Qingbran asked. 2 breath fluctuations finally appeared in the space. Immediately, 2 cloud-like things floated out. One mass is brown. One group is dark red. Fang Qingbran glanced around and saw that the situation seemed different from what she had imagined. The power of spiritual consciousness in this thing is very strong. It proves that their sanity is much higher than that of the weapon spirits. They do not have the power of the soul, they are not living beings, and they should not have such high spiritual power. Now they are emitting such strong spiritual power, which shows that their mental level is very high, almost comparable to that of the grown-up human race. Fang Qingbran sent a message to Hongmeng Shu, do you know these 2 things? The Hongmeng tree sensed it and said via voice, fuck, what the hell is this? The Xuanwang Qi is not Xuanwang, and the power of darkness is mixed with Yang Qi. These 2 things have become essence. Although it is not a living being, it is already equivalent to a living being. Xiao Fang, it's hard to deal with something like this. Hongmeng Shu couldn't help but sigh. Fang Qingbran had encountered so many weird things. Even though it is the mother tree of all realms, I have never seen these 2 things. There are quite a few things that merge with each other. But something like this weird fusion is really extremely rare. The power of darkness has yang energy, which is equivalent to the compatibility of water and fire, which is weird and violates the rules of Tao. Xuanwang Qi, Fang Qingbran repeated. Xuanwang Qi is the original Qi before the formation of each universe. It can affect the growth of all things and once gave birth to the origin of all worlds. Such a powerful existence would be tortured into this state by the power of darkness. So what was this dark force originally? The power of darkness comes from the Xuanwang Qi. Logically speaking, in this case, the Xuanwang Qi should have completely restrained the power of darkness. Why is this situation happening now? They obviously engulfed each other, merged, and then separated. The Hongmeng tree sent a message, Xiao Fang, I suddenly remembered something. Before I appeared, there seemed to be an extremely weird thing called the 9 Yin and 9 Yang Qi. The 9 Yin and 9 Yang Qi and the black and yellow Qi are of the same level. It's just that the 9 Yin and 9 Yang Qi are naturally incompatible with each other, so they are incompatible with all things, let alone connected with all things. And everything that comes into contact with it will gradually die. If a living being comes close to it, it will be even more terrifying. It will wipe out all vitality and opportunities in the living being. After its characteristics are exposed, no one dares to come into contact with it. But after all, it is a thing from the Tebe period, and no one can destroy it. So I sealed it in one place and ignored it. After all, it cannot establish a connection with all things, and it will dissipate sooner or later. But this thing developed a spiritual intelligence in the middle, and wants to establish a connection with all living things, and wants to exist for a long time. So it looked everywhere for possible connections, and it caused a lot of havoc. In the end, it still couldn't find a way to connect with all living things. Then it suddenly disappeared. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1163 Sincerity, Golden Ticket 1. I thought it dissipated later, but I didn't expect it to be sealed here. Xiaofeng, it's terrible now. Hong Mengxiu said very worriedly. This thing actually established a connection with the Xuanwang Qi. Such a high spiritual intelligence was born again, and it can't be dealt with. Hongmeng, does it still belong to the power of darkness? Fang Qingbran asked. Of course it does. The law emphasizes the return of 9 and 9 to 1. 9 Yang is the ultimate Yang, which belongs to light and can illuminate all things. 9 Yin belongs to the ultimate darkness, which is equivalent to the origin of darkness. After Hong Mengxiu responded, he realized something was wrong. I have said so much, but you only care about this. Why don't you find a way to get out of here quickly? The corners of Fang Qingbran's lips raised slightly. If you don't leave, you already said that it appeared in the Tebe period. If you use this thing to practice the way of devouring, think about what kind of power it will be. Fang Qingbran couldn't explain how she felt in her heart. After listening to Hong Mengxiu's introduction, she didn't feel fear, but felt relaxed. After hearing what Fang Qingbran said, Hong Mengxiu was speechless and worried. Xiaofeng, don't be confused. This thing also had a name before, called Hongmeng Dark Qi. Even the Chaos Demon God can't do anything with it. Are you sure you still want to conquer it? Fang Qingbran said, it should not be the 9 Yin and 9 Yang Qi now. Those two groups of things were quietly approaching Fang Qingbran. Whenever Fang Qingbran looked at them, they paused. When Fang Qingbran pretended to look away, they came towards Fang Qingbran. They were far away from Fang Qingbran at first. So they floated and floated, but they were still far away from Fang Qingbran. Fang Qingbran stared at them without looking away. Gradually, they seemed to be a little impatient. They moved tentatively a few times. When they saw that Fang Qingbran didn't respond, they quickly drifted towards Fang Qingbran. Hongmeng, how do they compare with the Qi of nothingness? Fang Qingbran asked via voice message. Well, normally speaking, they are about the same, but their spiritual consciousness is too high, and it is estimated that it has exceeded the air of nothingness. The Hongmeng tree observed the two clouds through the space. It has already condensed into an entity. What a surprise. Xiao Fang, how are you going to conquer them? Sincere. What? Say it again. Hong Mengxiu's tone changed. Haven't you heard? Sincerity is always a must-win. Fang Qingbran explained. Hongmeng tree was completely silent now. Tired of heart. Love it. Anyway, there is Mo Jinggong and the one who has the bottom line. Besides, she can reach that level in the future. It is closely related to every choice now. If it interferes forcefully, it will cause deviations in her future. Fang Qingbran raised her hand, palm facing up, as if she was holding something up. Hongmeng, sincerity plus anything else is invincible. Fang Qingbran raised the corners of her lips slightly and said through the message. Wait, what is that in your hand? Hong Mengxiu asked in shock. Even it barely detected that Fang Qingbran had something in his hand. Intangible things. The breath returns to its original nature. There is no deterrent or repressive force. Even the breath rarely comes out. Almost truly integrated into everything. Why has Fang Qingbran never seen this thing used before? I can't even remember what this thing is. Fang Qingbran did not answer Hong Mengxiu's question because two small clouds as big as her palm had already arrived in front of her. The mark between Fang Qingbran's eyebrows completely emerged. The ground is also shining with light one after another, and the threads intersect together in an intricate manner. In the space created by the line, a rune appeared. Mysterious and mysterious. A circular array unfolded with Fang Qingbran as the center and spread to the entire space. In an instant, the originally dark space became as bright as day. The cracks on the entire inner stone wall are more obvious and shocking. The ancient inscriptions previously engraved on it are vaguely visible. These ancient texts are similar to those at the entrance. Submit to me, Fang Qingbran said in a calm voice without any command. The two small groups seemed to be stunned for a moment, and then erupted with extremely terrifying auras. The whole space shook and even rotated. But when the space rotates, everything in the space is prohibited. Nothing has moved. Fang Qingbran waved her wrist and the space rotation stopped, then returned to its original direction. Two small clouds made a sound instantly. Unfortunately, Fang Qingbran couldn't understand due to language barrier. Hong Mengxiu could understand it, but it was a pity that it was so engrossed in listening at the moment that it forgot to translate for Fang Qingbran. These two objects must have been locked up for too long. They don't understand what the outside world looks like at all, so what they say has no lethality at all. Rather like a roar of incompetence. Hong Mengxiu listened and suddenly realized the question, why didn't they attack Fang Qingbran? With such a distance, they could easily control Fang Qingbran. Submit to me and I will take you away, Fang Qingbran said. The two small groups continued to quarrel. Fang Qingbran still didn't understand. However, she could sense that these two were angry and had no intention of surrendering to her. In this case, don't blame her, she has expressed her sincerity anyway. Fang Qingbran's hands floated slightly, and something invisible wrapped the two small balls. Fang Qingbran pinched two small balls. Knead it into a round shape and flatten it. Submit to me, Fang Qingbran stated again. There was still a feeling of anger. Seeing this scene, Hong Mengxiu always felt that it was rare and strange. Fang Qingbran, who is not even innocent, actually rounded and flattened something that was born in the beginning. The Hongmeng tree always feels like the entire tree is chilly. It doesn't seem to have offended Xiaofeng, right? When she picked the leaves, except for the beginning, it was very cooperative after that. When Fang Qingran asked something, it also told her. Except for some things that cannot be said, it simply knows everything and can describe everything. Hong Mengshu's thoughts were racing. It seemed that Fang Qingran was no longer the same after she came back from the River of Time. Not only does it have a lot more things that it doesn't know, he also became more vigorous and decisive, and had a sense of strategizing. So, what exactly did Fang Qingran experience in Hanoi? It has not reached the point where it can travel through the River of Time at will, so when Fang Qingran entered the River of Time, it was sleeping. Until Fang Qingran came back from the long River of Time. It saw the causal thread cut off on Fang Qingran's body and traced it back to this incident. Hongmeng Tree sensed the magic circle on the ground and was shocked. This was no longer a simple magic circle, but the power of law was vaguely revealed in it. There are still several kinds of rules. Therefore, when Fang Qingran said he would conquer them before, he was not arrogant, but confident. I am afraid that Fang Qingran quietly arranged the formation after he came in. Then lead you into the urn. There was obvious fear in the two balls in Fang Qingran's hand. They were inexplicably suppressed, and they were unable to break free like Fang Qingran. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1164 Surrender to me. The two small groups were a little dizzy. Lingji, who was still sober, gradually became confused. They even forget what they came out to do. Surrender to me. A calm voice sounded. There is no compulsion or arrogance. It's like it doesn't matter whether they surrender or not. The other person said this just for the sake of saying this. This kind of attitude makes them feel the arrogance of the other party even more. There seems to be a sense of righteousness in it. The other party seemed to be determined that they had only one option, surrender to her. The two small groups didn't understand very much. How dare this monk be so arrogant? And what kind of power does she use to control them? Why can they be absolutely suppressed? In the era when they were born, there were several forces that could suppress them. But that kind of suppression is far from absolute suppression. Since their time, they have never met anyone who can restrain them. Even among the most powerful beings in the world, few dare to make trouble in front of them. When those supreme experts saw them, they were basically frightened to the extreme and fled immediately. After they were sealed here, their power did not weaken with the passage of time. Instead, they gradually became stronger as they continued to devour each other and merged with each other. Who will tell them why they became powerful and were controlled by a monk? Has the outside world changed? Have all today's ascetics become such heaven-defying beings? Thinking of this possibility, the two small groups began to feel fear. They wanted to go out before because they thought the creatures outside were weak. After they go out, they can control all kinds of creatures at will, and even rule all creatures. But if the cultivators outside are so terrible, wouldn't the days after they go out be even worse? They don't want to live a life of being rounded and squashed by ascetics at will. The two small groups were frightened and wanted to beg for mercy. Unfortunately, due to language barriers, Fang Qingran could not understand their begging for mercy. I could only detect fear in their voices, and a hint of fawning. But there was no intention of surrender. Hong Mengshu couldn't stand listening anymore and sent a message to Fang Qingran. Xiao Fang, they said that as long as you let them go, they will send you out. Fang Qingran responded, tell them that I only accept submission, otherwise I will refine them. Refining? Hong Meng Tree was shocked. Is this the refining it understood? Yeah, Fang Qingran said expressionlessly. Hong Mengshu realized something was wrong at this moment. Fang Qingran had become indifferent since entering here. Xiao Fang, where are your feelings? I was afraid that they would use my emotions to control me, so I blocked my emotions in advance and then unlocked them after I conquered them. Hong Mengshu asked extremely complicatedly, aren't you afraid? Closing emotions requires withdrawing part of the soul, which is a very painful and dangerous thing. If you are not careful, not only your soul will be damaged, but you may also lose your emotions forever. The difference between living beings and other things is that living beings have emotions and can better perceive changes in the world. If a creature loses its emotions, it needs to exert the power of its spiritual consciousness at all times to perceive everything around it. Thinking of this, Hong Meng Tree couldn't help but sigh. It turned out that Fang Qingran had made so many efforts quietly in a place where it couldn't see. The reason why she got to this point was not luck at all, but herself. I have a sense of propriety, Fang Qingran said indifferently. There is no smooth path to spirituality. Beneath the dangerous choices lie huge opportunities. She will make all kinds of preparations before making dangerous choices. She can take risks, but she cannot rush into danger mindlessly. You said refining them, is that true? Hong Mengshu actually wanted to ask what kind of power Fang Qingran controlled. Conquering them is easier than refining them, and conquering them is the most beneficial to me, Fang Qingran said in a message. Hong Mengshu subconsciously followed Fang Qingran's words and thought that if the Xuanwang Qi could be refined, it would not be able to survive until now. The Chaos Demon God also tried to refine the Xuanwang Qi, but all failed. As for the energy of 9 yin and 9 yang, all living beings have to be careful even if they come into contact with it, so how can we talk about refining it? Hong Mengshu suddenly felt that something was wrong. What does subjugation compare to refining? There is no comparison at all, okay. Conquering and refining are both fantasy. As the original energy, Xuanwang Qi gave birth to the origin of all worlds. Even if it is not a living being, it still has its own pride. If it could be conquered, why wait until now? There is also the energy of 9 yin and 9 yang. This thing is even more evil. The Shi of 9 yin and 9 yang desperately wants to establish a connection with all living things, but this kind of connection is not a relationship of surrender to living beings. This thing is extremely special. His own power is also unstable, causing panic wherever he goes. Hong Mengshu thought about this and observed the situation outside again. It still can't find out what the power Fang Qingran controls. Hongmeng, tell them that I only accept submission. Fang Qingbran said. It is good. After the Hongmeng tree responded, it transformed into a clone and flew out of the space. A small bud, with a faint halo lingering around it. When Fang Qingbran saw the Hongmeng tree, he let go of the two small groups. They floated obediently in front of the Hongmeng tree without moving. It's not that they don't want to move, it's that they can't move. There is also a layer of strange power wrapped around them, which suppresses them and makes them unable to move. What are you two doing now? Hongmengshu asked curiously. This question I wanted to ask in the void space. The two small groups felt excited for a moment when they noticed the scent of the Hongmeng tree and heard the familiar language. We ourselves don't know what we are now, the small dark red cloud said in a voice. Can you save us? As long as you save us and let us escape from her clutches, I will give you a little bit of my power. The little brown cloud said. This monk is so scary. It didn't want to follow her. It was afraid that if she was unhappy in the future, it would round it up and flatten it. What exactly happened to you here? Why did it become like this? The Hongmeng tree was not prepared to answer the question. It wanted them to follow its rhythm. The small dark red cloud said, I used to have the chi of 9 yin and 9 yang. I originally roamed around all the worlds of the universe, but a nosy guy appeared, caught me, and suppressed me here. I tried to break through the barrier and leave several times, but all failed. I could only use more power to attack the seal. Just when I almost succeeded, Xuanwang's power came in. After it came in, it started to suppress me without any explanation. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1165 Small Moves. I have been suppressed by it for a long time, and I am not willing to see my strength gradually weakened. When there is oppression, there will naturally be resistance. I first deliberately fought with the power of Xuanwang, and used its power to destroy the runes here that suppressed me. Then, I tried to swallow the power of Xuanwang, and slowly I absorbed its power. In the end, I took advantage of Xuanwang's weakness and swallowed it directly. I thought I could devour it. Unexpectedly, the Xuanwang chi became stronger after I swallowed it, ran out again, and stole part of my power. The black and yellow power in turn wanted to devour me, so it and I devoured each other. In the end, I was able to generate 3 kinds of original power and became stable. On the contrary, the power of Xuanwang has been integrated with my power and has become unstable. Anyway, I can't explain why it has become like this. I know that I no longer have to wait to die. I can use the power of my origin to establish connections with living beings. If I can get another ray of Hongmeng purple energy, I may be able to continue to evolve. In short, I am very powerful now. I have both the Xuanwang chi and the 9 yin and 9 yang chi. The spirit of 9 yin and 9 yang ended up like a proud child. Then you might as well call it Juxuan chi. Hongmengshu said. Juxuan, I like this name very much. Juxuan's energy jumped up and down happily, and even deliberately moved closer to the Hongmeng tree. Hongmengshu didn't care much about this. I am Xuanwang chi, don't change my name. Brown Yuntuan said. It is born noble, even if it is contaminated with the energy of 9 yin and 9 yang, it can still create the original existence. Do you want to leave here, or stay here forever? Hongmengshu asked. Juxuanzi asked cautiously, are all the cultivators outside as scary as her? Hongmengshu gave an ambiguous answer, it depends on where you live. If you have to go to a dangerous place, you will definitely encounter someone like her. Xuanwang Chi asked puzzledly, I remember that before I came here, the universe in all realms was constantly expanding. If this continues, all kinds of Chi will become thinner and thinner. The path of the ascetic should be more difficult. Why does can it be so strong? Hongmengshu also wants to know why. It's a pity that no one can answer it. Hongmengshu said seriously, when did you see what happened? If the Qi becomes thinner, aren't there still various ways to gather Qi? Besides, when you came in, the number of creatures was not that many. Later, as the universe expanded and the number of creatures increased, the vitality will naturally change. The world trees from all walks of life have gained more vitality, so they will naturally change the rules of the world and make the path of the ascetic smoother. Hongmengshu said this, paused slightly, and then said, it's not easy for you two to develop spiritual consciousness. Do you really want to stay here and not go out? We wanted to go out before, but now I don't want to go out. Zhu Xuanzi said. After getting close to Fang Qingran, it will feel a sense of fear. This feeling is very strange, and it can't explain what it is, but this feeling is telling it to stay away from Fang Qingran. Xuanwang Qi actually doesn't want to stay here anymore. But it was also afraid of Fang Qingran. If you stay here, it will dissipate sooner or later. Why bother? Hongmengshu said. It is impossible for me to dissipate. As long as I get the Hongmeng purple Qi in the chaos spell, I can cultivate my soul and become a living being. Zhu Xuanzi said. When it becomes a living being, it will definitely be the strongest existence. Who dares to compete with it? If it can swallow up all the Xuanwang Qi, it will definitely become a supreme power faster. Juxuan Qi hurriedly suppressed the greed that emerged, for fear that Hongmeng tree would notice it. It remembers that Hongmeng trees can also produce Hongmeng purple energy. What? Zhu Xuanqi let out a scream. Fang Qingran took it under control again, rounded it and flattened it. Xiao Fang, what's wrong? Hongmengshu asked in confusion. It's thinking about your power. Fang Qingran's voice was cold, her eyes were sharp, and she had an aura all over her body. Xiao Fang, why not refine it? This thing is too ambitious and difficult to control, Hongmengshu suggested. Snort. How dare you pry into its power? Really ignorant. It's a shame that before that, I wanted to persuade the other party. After Hongmengshu told Fang Qingran, he deliberately repeated it to Zhu Xuanqi. Zhu Xuanzi heard Hongmengshu say, how can a cultivator refine me? Xuanwang Zhiqi said, it's really possible. Other cultivators can't, but she can. Seeing the miserable look of Zhu Xuanqi, Xuanwang Qi thought about what Hongmengshu said. If the outside world were all such ascetics, then it wouldn't be safe to stay here. Xuanwang Jiqi quickly made a choice. I am willing to submit to you, but after I submit to you, you can no longer rub me at will. Xuanwang Qi suddenly realized the current affairs, which made Duke Xuanqi confused. Ha ha ha, Xiaofeng said that she is willing to submit, but there is only one request. Hong Mengshu smiled and relayed Xuanwang Qi's words. Okay, Fang Qingran responded. With the Xuanwang Qi, there will be no shortage of origin in the void space. Fang Qingran kneaded the tips with her fingertips to remove the mixed aura of black and yellow energy, returning it to the color of heaven and earth. The Xuanwang Qi has returned to its original state, and I am very happy. Although the mixture of 9 yin and 9 yang qi before made it stronger, it still liked its original self. Ju Xuanqi seeks Hongmengzi qi in order to become stronger. It wants to use Hongmeng purple energy to wash away the mixed atmosphere. Xuanwang Jiqi took the initiative to establish a contract with Fang Qingran and submitted to Fang Qingran. Hong Mengshu saw this scene and felt it was novel. Xiao Fang, where are the auras on it? I refined it. Didn't you say it was difficult to refine them before? Hong Mengshu asked in confusion. The difficulty I'm talking about refers to the power of their spiritual consciousness, not the energy. Fang Qingran said. Hong Mengshu was a little speechless. The difficulty of understanding it was different from what Fang Qingran said. Hong Mengshu finally couldn't help but ask, Xiao Fang, what is the power you control? Fang Qingran looked at the Hongmeng tree with a slightly cold gaze. You really want to know? Yeah, I don't really want to know, Hong Mengshu said cautiously. Terrible. When did Xiaofeng's aura become so strong? It's better to finish it quickly and leave here. It doesn't want to see the cold Xiaofeng anymore. Fang Qingran flicked his sleeves and sent the Hongmeng tree and the Xuanwang Qi back to the space. After establishing a contract with Xuanwang Qi, she could already understand the words of Ju Xuanqi. Submit to me. Fang Qingran looked at the Duke Xuanqi in his palm. Conquering the Xuanwang Qi is for the sake of empty space. So she only asked Xuanwang Qi to surrender to her. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1166 9 Mysterious Spirits, additional update. And she wants to use the Ju Xuanqi to practice the way of devouring, so the Ju Xuanqi must completely surrender to her without any dissent. Otherwise, it will lay the foundation for her future trouble. The spiritual consciousness of Ju Xuanqi is born from Juyin and Juyang, and is already comparable to living beings. To conquer this kind of spiritual thing, you must make the other party completely surrender from the beginning. Fang Qingran took out the heaven refining furnace and threw the Ju Xuanqi into it. Since you don't want to surrender to me, then I can only refine you, integrate you into the sword body, and become an existence like a weapon spirit. The Ju Xuanqi of the heaven refining furnace immediately wanted to rush out, but felt the power controlling it again. Ju Xuanqi suddenly became panicked. It doesn't want to be like the Xuanwang Qi and surrender to Fang Qingran. It is so powerful that it must not succumb to the ascetics. It wants to become an existence that can rule all worlds. As long as it is given the Hongmeng purple Qi, it can condense its soul and become a living being. At that time, it can cultivate and improve itself. When it becomes powerful, it will establish contact with all living beings and connect their fates to its own. In this way, it will exist forever. It has a more ambitious goal. How can it surrender to a cultivator? Let me go. It's useless for you to threaten me. There is absolutely no way I will give in to you, Ju Xuanzi said angrily. But because the voice is too immature, it has no deterrent effect. Ju Xuanqi determined that Fang Qingran was just joking by refining it. It was born in the beginning and absorbs the purest and most noble creation energy. It controls unique laws and can form its own rules. Moreover, if it regenerates earlier, it might even become the same thing as the creation green lotus. Even the power of nothingness will regress when seeing it now. Okay, Fang Qingran responded and took out the Qingguan sword. There are already King Feng and Kang Long in Qingguan sword, but this does not affect her ability to put the Juxuan spirit into it. The spirit of Ju Xuan was unwilling to surrender to her. She separated it from the 9 yin and 9 yang qi, leaving only the 9 yin and 9 yang qi. The power of darkness that can be practiced in the way of devouring can be practiced with or without spiritual consciousness. Having spiritual consciousness will make the way of devouring stronger, but it will also increase the risk. The way of swallowing without spiritual consciousness is easier to control, but it takes longer to practice and is more difficult to practice. She doesn't care about these, all she needs is the powerful power of darkness. Stop, Juxuan's spirit cried out in pain. At this moment, it realized that what Fang Qingran said was true. It was it that she wanted to refine, and it was never the energy of 9 yin and 9 yang. The spirit of Juxuan gave birth to fear. It dares to be so arrogant only because it has strong power to back it up. But Fang Qingran actually pulled the trigger and took away its confidence. Juxuan's spirit begged for mercy, please don't do this to me. How about I go find you a stronger Hongmeng purple qi? Fang Qingran remained unmoved. Hongmeng purple qi and Hongmeng qi are slightly different. Hongmeng purple qi is a power that can directly control the law. The Hongmeng qi needs to be refined and integrated into the soul, which is the same as the power of nothingness. How do you want to let me go? In addition to surrendering to you, I can agree to any condition you have. Juxuan's spirit promised. No need, Fang Qingran said coldly. The Juxuan spirit has too many thoughts. Ever since it was controlled, it has been trying to manipulate her with emotions. You, Juxuan's spirit screamed. Its spiritual consciousness is being withdrawn from the 9 yin and 9 yang energy. The pain of this feeling was excruciating. The spirit of Juxuan was extremely frightened. No, stop quickly, I'm sorry, I am willing to submit to you. It can only surrender first and stabilize Fang Qingran. After all, even if it really agrees to surrender, so what if it signs a contract with it? It has plenty of ways to void the contract. Fang Qingran stopped what he was doing and said, you said before that you can create 3 origins. What 3 are they? The Juxuan spirit was stunned for a moment and said honestly, the origin of darkness, the origin of light, the origin of stars. Where did you get these 3 origins? I swallowed it from the Xuanwang spirit. Fang Qingren's eyes were cold, as if he had the power to see through everything. Just forget about deceiving the Hongmeng tree with your words, don't use them to deceive me. The power of Xuanwang can give birth to the origin of all worlds. The origin of all realms is just an origin that enables all realms to generate the power of their origin. There are not thousands of origins. No matter how hard the Juxuan spirit swallows up the power of Xuanwang, it is impossible to give birth to the third source of stars. You, Juxuan spirit said, for a long time, but didn't think about what to say next. You have the power to suppress the gods, as well as the power of decay. Fang Qingren said in a calm tone. Juxuan spirit was shocked. Why do you know about the Genshin clan? Didn't the Genshin clan fall long ago? Fang Qingren remained silent, staring at the Juxuan spirit with sharp eyes. The Juxuan spirit trembled. I admit that I actually deceived the Xuanwang spirit. What they said about devouring each other was a lie. What the Xuanwang power swallowed was the power of the Genshin clan. What I swallowed was actually the power of the Mother of Decay. After I devoured the Mother of Decay, I accidentally gained a balance in my own power and gave birth to the source of the stars. The seal outside can't trap me, but I still want to get the Hongmeng Purple Chi from the Chaos Bell, so I will continue to stay here. But I alone can't deal with the Chaos Clock. The Chaos Bell is a venerable weapon and an innate treasure. It has abilities that I don't have. In addition, there is Xuanwang Chi watching from the side. If I fight with the Chaos Bell, Xuanwang Chi will definitely reap the benefits. So I thought of a way to deliberately let the Xuanwang spirit be contaminated with the power of calming the gods, and then I wrapped it with the power of calming the gods. It was like I had swallowed it. I took this opportunity to quietly inject the power of decay into the power of Xuanwang. Under the cover of the power of suppressing the gods, the Xuanwang spirit did not discover the existence of the power of decay. The Xuanwang spirit only found that it had become turbid. But this time, I kept mentioning to it that the Hongmeng Purple Chi can purify power, and also revealed that the Chaos Bell has Hongmeng Purple Chi. Gradually, the Xuanwang spirit agreed to work with me to find a way to deal with the Chaos Bell. During this process, I also deliberately consumed the power of the Xuanwang spirit, allowing it to absorb the power of calming the gods, and mix the power of decay with the power of calming the gods. In this way, after I obtain Hongmeng Purple Chi, I can control the power of Xuanwang. But before my plan was completed, you came. The spirit of the Nine Mysteries looked slightly depressed when he said this. What a perfect plan. It's just perfect. But all this was ruined by Fang Qingren. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1167 Conquer, Golden Ticket 2. It never thought that the current ascetics could control it. It has seen from the memory of the Mother of Decay that after the period of chaos, entering the prehistoric world, the rules between heaven and earth changed. The path of cultivation for all kinds of creatures is also subject to various restrictions. Resources are nearly exhausted. The Longhand Calamity originally started because of resource issues. During the prehistoric times, many supreme powers fell because of robbing resources. Some inheritances were also discontinued after that. Various innate treasures were also destroyed and disappeared during that period. Later, after the prehistoric times, we entered the ancient era of chaos. During this period, the competition for resources has extended to all universes. Therefore, catastrophes broke out in the universe. During this period, the most powerful people from all races died. However, the outbreak of catastrophe is also beneficial to the growth of some dark creatures. Instead, they need disasters to obtain various resources. Among all kinds of ancient books, the records about the ancient period are the least. In the ancient times, there were always melees. Even if there were records, they would be destroyed in the melee. During this period, countless precious inheritances were cut off and disappeared. However, there are advantages to this chaotic era. The universes have suffered huge losses and are no longer able to go out to fight. So we entered the ancient times. In ancient times, all walks of life were recuperating. During this period, due to the loss of various cultivation inheritances and the decrease in cultivators, resources were sufficient. Moreover, many secret realms have appeared in all walks of life, which can also be explored by ascetics. However, even if there are resources, many inheritances are still broken, so the ancient ascetics are far less powerful than the previous ascetics. Probably it was because the ancient times had been stable for too long, and in the ancient times, it became chaotic again. The Mother of Decay came here with a monk in ancient times. What it devoured was the clone of the Mother of Corruption. The Mother of Decay has several clones. The Mother of Decay is actually the same as it, belonging to a ball of air. However, it is derived from nothingness, while the Mother of Decay is the power of creation. The Mother of Decay's intention was not to become stronger. He actually wanted to change the rules and have the ability to reproduce. If you want to attack the rules, you must improve your strength and have the ability to rewrite the rules. But the Mother of Decay doesn't do this. She chooses to parasitize creatures and wants to take away the ability to reproduce from them. This approach is simply stupid. You can obviously find ways to change the rules, but you have to follow the path of dependence. Parasitism is a depraved choice. The Nine Mysterious Spirits despised the Mother of Decay. Therefore, it originally planned to leave here after obtaining the Hongmeng Purple Chi, find the body of the Mother of Decay, and devour the opponent. This kind of thing shouldn't exist. I want to take away the power of decay and the power of calming gods from your body. After Fang Qingren finished speaking, her fingertips touched the spirit of Juxuan. The next moment, Juxuan's spirit felt that it had lost 1/3 of its power. Fang Qingren didn't intend to explain anything to Juxuan's spirit. The power of the Mother of Decay originally belonged to Tai Nuing. This kind of power is quite special. The spirit of the Nine Mysteries can integrate this power, but there is no way to completely turn this power into the power of the Nine Mysteries. Fang Qingren sent the power of decay into the void space and gave it to Zhu Zhao. Zhu Zhao is using his own power to support the remnant spirit of Tai Nuing. It concealed itself very well at first, but when it refused to come down, it was already exposed. After Fang Qingren gave her strength, the soul exited the space. As for the power of calming the gods, there is too much yin power in it, and it is not given to Feng Si for the time being. From now on, you will be called Ju Xuan Spirit and make a contract with me. Fang Qingbran said, taking the Ju Xuan Spirit out of the heaven refining furnace, putting away the heaven refining furnace, taking a step back, and then threw the Ju Xuan Spirit into the center of the formation. Suddenly, Ju Xuan's inspiration was affected by the aura of the creation green lotus. Ju Xuan Spirit panicked. What kind of formation is this? Fang Qingbran did not answer Ju Xuan Spirit's question. The contract is completed. As Fang Qingbran finished speaking, the brilliance of the formation shone brightly, and a special mark appeared on the Ju Xuan Spirit. You are despicable and shameless. How can you use the power of the creation green lotus to make a contract with me? Ju Xuan Spirit said angrily. King Feng, Kanglong, let it be trained by you. Fang Qingbran threw the Qingluan sword directly. Okay, master, don't worry, I'm good at this. King Feng transformed into a shadow and said happily. Kanglong, I'm afraid it won't be necessary. Fang Qingbran walked to other places and began to collect things, including the god-level golden origin stone, Xuan Jade, and 10,000 years Xuan Iron. Now, I no longer have to worry about the materials for making weapons. When Fang Qingbran stopped, there was nothing left in the entire space. The formation is suspended in the void. Fang Qingbran saw that King Feng was still communicating with the 9 mysterious spirits, so she chose a place to sit cross-legged. She wants to regain her emotions. Bottom of the cliff. The chaos bell passed through the barrier and searched everywhere, but failed to detect Fang Qingbran's aura. It was very panicked. Could it be that Fang Qingbran was swallowed by those two things? At this moment, the chaos clock noticed a strange fluctuation, and then a figure appeared at the bottom of the cliff. Chaos Bell looked at the intact Fang Qingbran and stammered, You are okay. Fang Qingbran raised a smile at the corner of her lips, and something was actually delivered to her door. This trip was really not in vain. When Chaos Jung saw Fang Qingbran's smile, Jung felt a chill subconsciously. Let's go, Fang Qingbran said. Ah, where to go? Chaos Clock asked subconsciously. Take back the treasure chests you gave me before. I counted them, and there are 98 in total, Fang Qingbran said in a brisk voice. Chaos Clock was confused. Don't you want none of them? Fang Qingbran's eyes flashed slightly. I just can't say it, but I didn't say no. Sister Fang, was this the gift of the previous treasure box? Fang Jingyu's figure gradually emerged, followed by 2 swing chairs. It's a bit noisy in the void space. So it decided to come out and wait. When the Ju Xuan Spirit was being beaten, he scolded King Feng, and was taken into the void space by King Feng. King Feng was afraid of delaying Fang Qingbran's plan. I chose to take the Ju Xuan Spirit back to the void space to teach him a good lesson. Why are you following her, Eye of the Moon God? Chaos Clock asked. Sister Feng is amazing. How about you also make a contract with Sister Feng? Fang Jingyu suggested. Chaos Bell snorted coldly. I'm an innate treasure. The person who wants to contract with me can probably fill this small world. Why should I contract with her? The sound of the Chaos Clock was arrogant, but there was a hint of expectation. It decided that as long as Fang Qingbran gave it chaos mushrooms, it would reluctantly agree to make a contract with her. Fang Qingbran looked at the Chaos Clock in a funny way. What do you want? No wonder the Chaos Bell was tricked by the 9 mysterious spirits. If this spiritual intelligence was not tricked, who would be? Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1168 Can't wait. When Chaos Bell heard Fang Qingbran's question, he immediately became arrogant. Humph. I am Chaos Bell, a spirit nourished and grown by the power of chaos. I can't look down on simple treasures. Sister Fang, it seems to be very reluctant. Let's go. Fang Jingyu said in time. Okay. After Fang Qingbran said that, he took Fang Jingyu and left. Walking cleanly. Chaos Clock was stunned. It didn't reject the contract, so why didn't it insist on it? Besides, it is the treasure of chaos. Why can a contractor ignore it so much? Just when Chaos Jung couldn't figure it out, he saw Fang Qingbran and Fang Jingyu coming back. The Chaos Clock immediately thought that they regretted it and wanted to come back to negotiate the contract with it again. So Chaos Bell snorted coldly, if you want to make a contract. Halfway through Chaos Jung's words, he discovered that Fang Qingbran and Fang Jingyu had already passed by it. I almost forgot, there is still a treasure I haven't taken. Fang Qingbran said as she walked. Narrow cliff bottom. The sound echoed. Fang Qingbran walked for a place, knocked on the stone wall, and then nodded lightly with satisfaction. This is it. The next moment, a piece of the stone wall in front of him collapsed, revealing something inside. A purple gold gourd. The breath on the gourd has the same origin as Fang Zhichu. Fang Qingbran moved her fingers slightly, and a purple gold gourd floated in front of her. There was a talisman engraved on the gourd. You can feel the rich prehistoric energy from the talisman. It's actually the gourd of heaven and earth. Chaos Clock jumped over and stared at the gourd in disbelief. The Chankan gourd is the 7th gourd grown on the gourd vine during the prehistoric period. The 7th gourd is the one that absorbs the most spiritual energy from heaven and earth. There is also a hint of purple energy from heaven and earth within it. Although the purple energy of heaven and earth is not as good as the purple energy of Hongmeng, it is still an extremely rare energy. Therefore, the 7th gourd is the only innate treasure among the 7 gourds. Since the period of chaos, heaven and earth have never produced an innate treasure. The Chankan gourd was the only one of that period. In order to snatch this gourd, the powerful powers of all parties started several wars. In the end, the gourd was obtained by Lao Su, who was superior in Taoism. Later, Lao Su died, and the gourd of the universe disappeared. I didn't expect this thing to be hidden here. Fang Qingbran was found so easily. Chaos Clock couldn't help but feel a sense of crisis. Fang Qingbran could easily pick up a treasure, so no wonder he wasn't in a hurry to make a contract with it. It seems it must take the initiative. Chaos Bell said coquettishly, that Fang Qingbran, if you want to make a contract with me, it's not impossible. You also know that I have many uses. Sister Fang, you have obtained another innate treasure. You should carefully consider the contract with the Chaos Bell. After all, the contract with these treasures takes up a lot of space in the sea of consciousness. Feng Jingyu blinked. He seemed very worried about Feng Qingran. When Chaos Bell heard this, he immediately became anxious. Feng Qingran could only contract another innate treasure. How can this work? She must not be allowed to contract with Chanken Gourd first. It can be used more than Chanken Gourd top. Feng King, no, Master Feng, please make a contract with me first. I am much more useful than this Gourd of heaven and earth. I can reverse time and space, and I can also cut off the lines of cause and effect in time and space. Chaos Jung's tone was urgent, fearing that Feng Qingran would make a contract with Chanken Gourd if it was too late. Feng Qingran said nothing, so she looked at the purple gourd with embarrassment and looked at the Chaos Clock with pity. Chaos Jung noticed Feng Qingran's regretful mood and became even more anxious. Feng Qingran obviously wanted to choose the Gourd of heaven and earth. That's right, its attitude just now was very bad, and Feng Qingran must have been sad. The Chanken Gourd is also a rare treasure. The contract was of great use to Feng Qingran at this time. Chaos Bell simply refused to do anything and directly used the contract formation, saying to Feng Qingran, Master Feng, as long as you make a contract with me, you can use my abilities after you reach the realm of creation. Feng Qingran looked at the Chaos Clock casually, the treasure chest from before. All for you, Chaos Bell responded. After Chaos Bell finished speaking, he seemed to have thought of something, and then continued, I have a way to take away the entire palace. When we leave here, I will give the entire palace to you. Feng Qingran heard this and nodded, contract, done. As Feng Qingran's voice fell, Chaos Jung's hanging heart finally relaxed. It finally succeeded in crowding out the Gourd of heaven and earth. The Chaos Clock spun in a circle, extremely happy. A smile appeared on Feng Qingran's lips. Why were the Chaos Bell, the God-killing spear, and the 10,000 ghost flags, both of which were treasures from the Chaos period, so big? Sure enough, having spiritual consciousness does not mean having IQ. Feng Qingran called out to Feng Zhichu, Chu, is this the gourd you lost at that time? The vines of Feng Zhichu wrapped around the purple gold gourd. Master, this is it. I put the most effort into it at that time. I originally wanted to use it to gather more power of heaven and earth for me, but it was a pity that it was taken away. There was a softer look in Feng Qingran's eyes. It's okay. I'm back now. If I have a chance in the future, I'll get the other 6 for you. Okay, Feng Zhichu said happily. Feng Zhichu rolled up the gourd and handed it to Feng Qingran, saying, Master, this is for you. It is very useful. If used to hold the elixir, it can keep the spiritual power in the elixir from dissipating for a long time, and it can also let its quality improve. You can also put any other spiritual things. It can also be used to nourish the spiritual consciousness of various spiritual things. By the way, it can also purify power. If anyone is contaminated with the power of darkness or cannot adapt to the aura, they can go in and lie down. There is a small world inside and the scenery is very good. Master can also go inside to practice. The spiritual power inside is the purest spiritual power, almost comparable to the spiritual power in the Chaos period. It also doubles as storage and has still space inside. It seems like that's all it has for the time being. Feng Zhichu liked this purple gold gourd very much and knew it very well. At that time, when the gourd was growing, I was most attentive to this gourd. This purple gold gourd is the most beautiful of the 7 gourds. When used, it will emit colorful light, like a rainbow. Chu, when it was picked, it must not have been completely mature, right? Feng Qingran asked. When Feng Zhichu heard Feng Qingran's question, he was stunned for a moment, and a sad emotion overflowed from its vines. Feng Zhichu said sadly, it is indeed defective. I added a lot of power of heaven and earth to it, and also found a trace of purple energy of heaven and earth for it, trying to make it more powerful. But it was this trace of the purple energy of heaven and earth that attracted the great powers of the wild and made them focus on the 7 gourds. They originally wanted to wait until the gourds were ripe before picking them. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1169 The 7th Gourd. But while they were waiting, a black snake also set its sights on the purple gold gourd. The black snake didn't care whether the gourd was mature or not. All it wanted was the purple energy of heaven and earth in the gourd. The black snake observed it for a while and didn't notice any danger, so it was ready to swallow the 7th gourd directly. Because of its behavior, the powerful people in the ancient world couldn't sit still, and they all took action to deal with the black snake. However, some powerful people are dealing with the black snake carefully, but there are also some powerful people who want to take the opportunity to step forward and grab the gourd. Those powerful people did not directly pick the 7th gourd. They focused on other mature gourds. When the powerful men saw this scene, they ignored the black snake and started grabbing the gourd. When I saw them like this, I wanted to resist. As soon as they saw that I was conscious, they became even more excited and showed the greed. They wanted to take me as their own, so that all the gourds on the vines would belong to him. My strength at that time was pretty good, and we were in a stalemate with them for a while, and no one could do anything to anyone. So they in turn collaborated with Black Snake. The Black Snake's ability is just enough to restrain me, and its venom can corrode my vines. All of my clones' vines were corroded by the Black Snake's venom and withered rapidly. I was afraid that the gourd behind me would be affected, so I exposed my body and fought with it. When the Black Snake sees my true body, it wants to corrode my true body with poison. When the powerful men saw this, they immediately stopped the Black Snake. After all, there are not many plants with spiritual consciousness. As long as they can get them, they are of great use, so they started fighting with the Black Snake again. The purple gold gourd was already conscious at that time. It sent me a message, telling me to leave quickly and leave them alone. The other 6 gourds also sent me messages and asked me to leave. I couldn't bear to part with the gourd I cultivated carefully. I didn't want to leave, so I prepared to use the power of my origin. When the powerful people saw this, they realized that I was difficult to deal with, and they reached cooperation with Black Snake. They know that I care about the gourds, so they threaten me with the safety of the gourds. If I dare to deal with them, they will destroy all the gourds. I had no choice but to compromise, but they started fighting over my ownership. As time goes by, the gourds are maturing day by day. The first gourd to mature is red. When it matures, it starts to protect me. Those powerful people didn't care much about this. Later, when the 6 gourds matured, they finally realized the crisis and united with the black snake to deal with us. In order to protect me, the 6 gourds forcibly sacrificed their spiritual consciousness, opened the space-time rift, and sent me into it. In the end, I escaped, and the remaining gourds became those powerful treasures. Because the first 6 gourds sacrificed their spiritual consciousness for me, their levels were reduced and they only became acquired spiritual treasures. And the 7th gourd has lost its nourishment. Even if it later successfully becomes an innate treasure, it will still be incomplete. By the time I was strong enough to enter and leave any space at will, the 7 gourds had disappeared. I only found a little information about their uses. Master, I really regret it. If I hadn't been greedy, they wouldn't have had to sacrifice. When Fang Zhiqiu said this, his mood became even more depressed. It loved every gourd and gave each gourd something different at that time. Only the purple energy of heaven and earth on the 7th gourd is special. It intentionally makes the 7th gourd more powerful, so that when the other gourds are injured in battle, they can enter the 7th gourd for healing. Complement each other. Unfortunately, it ended up like that. Woo woo woo, Calabash Vine, you are so miserable, don't be sad, they are willing to sacrifice for you, woo woo woo. The cry of Chaos Clock came unexpectedly. Fang Qingran was speechless for a moment. She suspected that if Chaos Bell were a human being, it would have been wiping tears. Fang Zhiqiu was only slightly sad at first, but when he heard what Chaos Bell said, he felt even sadder. So Fang Zhiqiu also cried, and said while crying, I really don't want them to be like that, it was me who hurt them. Fang Jingyu looked at Fang Zhiqiu, then at the Chaos Clock, and then at the expressionless Fang Qingran, thinking, should she cry? It is very difficult for beings like her, Fang Zhiqiu, and Chaos Bell to develop spiritual consciousness. Once they have spiritual consciousness and consciousness, they are actually not much different from living beings. After sacrificing spiritual consciousness, it is equivalent to completely disappearing in the long river of time. There is no chance of reunion. They are different from the human race, which has souls, consciousness, etc. As long as there is still one thing left in the world, the soul can be reunited. Humans can also resurrect the disappeared relatives through blood connections. Although the conditions will be very harsh, at least there is hope. And she, Fang Zhiqiu, and Chaos Bell have no blood connection with anyone, or even very little connection. Even though Fang Zhiqiu gave birth to 7 gourds, strictly speaking, when the 7 gourds break away from the gourd vine, they have nothing to do with Fang Zhiqiu. Fang Zhiqiu's cry was extremely low. However, the more Chaos Clock cried, the more unable to hold it back, and began to cry loudly, why are you doing this? Those powerful people are really hateful, wow wow wow. Cry and cry. When Chaos Clock spoke, his words were extremely clear. Choo-choo, it's okay, you can still find them. You can raise this gourd first, and then give it to me when it is raised again. You can go back to space first. Fang Qingran comforted her softly. It is good. Fang Zhiqiu returned to space with the purple gold gourd. Its gourd vine frame is right next to the Hongbeng tree, and 7 flowers have bloomed on it. In the beginning, all living things have the destiny, and fate cannot be changed. Hongbeng Shu said calmly. After saying that, the Hongbeng tree gave Fang Zhiqiu a purple leaf. Choo-choo, you integrate this leaf into the purple gold gourd, so that it has the opportunity to reshape spiritual consciousness. The purple law of reincarnation. It can help life reincarnate. The purple gold gourd was not life, but it gave Fang Zhiqiu hope and could make the 7th gourd even more powerful. Hongbeng, thank you. Fang Zhiqiu thanked him. You gave me your original power back then, so that's nothing. Hongbeng said. When it was still a small seedling, it needed the original power sent by Fang Zhiqiu, otherwise it would probably take a long time to grow. When the 7th gourd touched the purple Hongbeng leaf, it turned into a stream of light and entered the purple petals on the vine. Immediately, a strange law appeared in the flowers, and there was also an obvious power of spiritual consciousness. Fang Zhiqiu noticed the changes in the flowers and was very happy. After it advanced, it controlled its body to produce 7 buds. It thought that if it could not find the 7 lost gourds, it would grow 7 more gourds. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1170 Black Snake, additional update. Maybe, the spiritual consciousness born from the 7 gourds will still be the same as the original 7. Even if it is a luxury wish. It doesn't want to give up either. Now that the owner has found the 7th gourd, this hope has increased. Hongbeng Tree sensed the depressed aura emanating from the vines and said, Choo-choo, don't worry, you have done a good job. By the way, do you still remember the aura and appearance of the black snake? Fang Zhiqiu recalled it and said, the snake is somewhat similar to the ancient ringing snake, except that the aura on it is very sinister. It has an extremely special aura, a very bad aura. Fang Zhiqiu was silent for a moment. I feel that the aura is like the aura of disaster. I feel that as soon as it appears, all kinds of dark auras around me will rush towards my face. I remembered that at that time, those great powers seemed to appear from the black snake, and began to behave abnormally. Their behavior was fickle, their eyes were full of greed, and they became a little more hostile to each other. Especially the powerful one who gets beaten closer to the black snake, his mood is also irritable. When Fang Zhiqiu thought about this, he remembered many details. Hongmengshu said slightly seriously, Choo-choo, have you ever thought that maybe the black snake's initial target was you, not those gourds? Yes, the purple energy of heaven and earth in you is much more than the purple gold gourd. You are also the ancestral spirit bred by heaven and earth. If you are swallowed, it can be greatly improved. Hongmengshu said. The value of Fang Zhiqiu is almost comparable to that of the chaos divine plant. If an ancestral spirit with spiritual consciousness like Fang Zhiqiu is swallowed, the benefits to the sea of consciousness will be huge. Describe it exaggeratedly. If Fang Zhiqiu's body could be completely swallowed up, the sea of consciousness could suddenly grow from the size of a small world to the size of a universe. How could such a span not attract greedy people? I have never noticed the aura of a black snake before. When it stared at the gourd, it was the first time I noticed its existence. Feng Zhiqiu said. During the prehistoric period, the black snake seemed to appear only once. After it regained its strength, it found out that there was no information about the black snake in the ancient world. It was as if the black snake had never appeared. It had felt strange before. The melee clearly erupted with great power, and the multiverses were shaken. In such a terrifying melee, Black Snake is the most prominent one. But none of the great powers, including those watching the battle, had spread any news about Black Snake. This puzzles him. Hongmeng, is there any record about black snakes in your inheritance? Feng Zhiqiu asked, confused. The Hongmeng tree was silent for a moment, then sighed and said, there should be some, but it's a pity that I can't find it. Regarding inheritance, not all inheritances can be opened. Some inheritances are subject to certain restrictions, and there are prohibitions that prevent them from being opened. Outside the void space. After Feng Zhiqiu entered, the Chaos Bell was still crying. Feng Qingran looked at the Chaos Clock helplessly, her eyebrows twitching, and she suddenly regretted contracting it. Feng Jingyu felt that the Chaos Bell and Duke Xuanqi were on par. At this moment, Duke Xuanqi was screaming in the space, and King Feng seemed not to let it go yet, and continued to beat it. Feng Jingyu looked at Feng Qingran with doubtful eyes and said, Sister Feng, Chu said before that 6 gourds were sacrificed for spiritual consciousness, so where did the spiritual consciousness of the 7th gourd go? Those great powers would definitely not be willing to destroy the spiritual consciousness in the gourd. After all, a treasure with spiritual consciousness is of a completely different level of intensity. A cold light flashed in Feng Qingran's eyes. 6 gourds were sacrificed to open the rift in time and space. Will those powerful men let Chu go easily? Will not. Yes, they won't let Chu go, so naturally they need someone to stop them. Feng Jingyu couldn't calm down for a long time after hearing Feng Qingran's words. The spiritual consciousness of the 7th gourd can actually block so many powerful powers. I didn't think of this just now. No wonder the 7th gourd is an innate treasure. This spiritual consciousness is also different. That's not all the 7th gourd did. It must have done some other things, otherwise Chu would not have grown steadily. Feng Qingran responded. The true form that Feng Zhiqiu displayed in front of the mighty power would definitely make them covet him. Such good things have escaped. How could they give up? Everyone must be looking for it. With 7 gourds in their hands, if they really wanted to track down Feng Zhiqiu's whereabouts, it would be easy. But the strange thing is that after they got the gourd, they never thought of looking for Feng Zhiqiu. Someone must have interfered in the middle. All she could think of was the purple and gold gourd. However, she couldn't guess what Zijin gourd did. I'm afraid I can only ask the powerful people at that time, or ask the spiritual consciousness of Zijin gourd. Chaos Bell, have you been beaten? A voice gloated about the misfortune. The Wangui banner and the god-killing spear appeared at the same time. The cry of the Chaos Clock stopped abruptly. Replaced with quiet sobs. I made a contract with Phoenix Lord, I was just moved to tears. Chaos Jung said. You really have no future. No matter how good the Phoenix Master is, you won't cry like this. Wang Giban mocked. No, my crying has nothing to do with the contract. Chaos Bell argued. The god-killing spear said respectfully to Feng Qingran, Master Feng, since you have signed a contract with the Chaos Bell, this place belongs to you, so there is no need for us. Let's go back to space first. The god-killing spear lifted up the Chaos Bell and entered the space. What are you doing? The frightened voice of the Chaos Clock echoed at the bottom of the cliff. Ha ha ha, I'm going to see a good show, Phoenix Master. Wangui banner smiled and flew into the void space. Feng Qingran shook her head when she saw their happy scene. Feng Qingran explored the space with the power of his spiritual consciousness. After the god-killing spear brought the Chaos Bell into the space, he began to draw the Chaos Bell. This time the Chaos Clock started to cry again. Feng Qingran withdrew the power of her consciousness and said to Feng Jingyu, let's go and open the treasure box first, and then go see the man in the palace. It is good. Nangong Ming, the real ancestor of the Nangong family. He watched helplessly as the gate of the palace in front of him disappeared. In its place was a complete giant mountain. How is this possible? Have I entered an illusion? Nangong Ming stared at the stone wall in front of him in disbelief and said in shock. Nangong Ming used the power of his spiritual consciousness to sense it and found that it was not an illusion. This huge mountain is still that huge mountain. The various formations he had deployed before still existed. Nangong Ming's face became even more ugly. He thought of a bad situation, that is, the female cultivator who entered before got the palace, so the palace disappeared. How dare you snatch Nangong Ming's things? You really don't know how to live or die. Don't let me find you, Nangong Ming said coldly. No need to look for it, I'm right here. What advice do you have? A joking voice sounded from behind Nangong Ming. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1171 Different Positions. Nangong Ming suddenly felt a chill running down his spine. He turned around and saw Feng Qingran and Feng Jingyu sitting on the swing chairs, looking down at him. Nangong Ming's face was extremely ugly. The two of them appeared quietly, without any fluctuation in power. Why is this happening? He had explored them before, but they were not as strong as him. Did they get any special opportunities there? Let them become powerful all of a sudden, so that they can tear apart the space without leaking their breath. Nangong Ming knew that there was a secret realm that was slightly different from the time in the outside world. Even though he has only been waiting here for a few days, thousands of years may have passed inside. In this way, it proves even more how precious the things in the secret realm are. Nangong Ming's heart overflowed with greed. At his level, ordinary treasures could no longer be valued. Ordinary treasures have no effect on him. Only the precious treasures in the ancient secret realm can improve his cultivation. And any small secret realm with a time and space difference is a secret realm that is very suitable for him. Nangong Ming stared at Feng Qingran and Feng Jingyu. When his eyes fell on Feng Qingran's face, his expression suddenly changed. Why was Feng Qingran so similar to the Lord Tianyu? Could it be? Is Fang Qingran the bloodline of Lord Tianyu? Thinking of this possibility, Nan Gongming became more afraid of Fang Qingran, and at the same time, he had murderous intention towards Fang Qingran in his heart. If Fang Qingran was really that person's bloodline, leaving her out would be a source of endless trouble. Even though he got a lot of treasures from the Zhenshin clan. Used to improve cultivation. But he is also self-aware. His strength is far inferior to that of Lord Tianyu. You're not looking for me. I'm already here, why don't you say anything? Fang Qingran said with her innocent smile. The real ancestor of the Nangong family has a slightly mixed aura. The path of becoming a saint is also very wrong. His current realm is above that of a saint, but judging from the strength around him, it's just that his realm has gone up, but his strength has not. He may not be able to defeat Bailey Yuanmo, who is in the saint realm. Although Bailey Yuanmo's aura is equally mixed, his path to enlightenment is slightly more orthodox. Who are you? Nan Gongming asked. I am Fang Qingran, and my mother is Fang Qingwu. A sharp light flashed in Fang Qingran's eyes, and a smile appeared on the corners of her lips. Nan Gongming was shocked and asked uncertainly, is your mother the former Lord of Heaven, Fang Qingwu? Fang Qingran nodded affirmatively, yes, that's her. You fought against her. At that time, the entire Nangong family was against her, right? Fang Qingran spoke calmly. But Nan Gongming heard a chill. Sure enough, his guess back then was right. Fang Qingwu did not really die, otherwise there would be no Fang Qingran. Moreover, before Fang Qingwu's death in the God realm, there was no news that she was pregnant. Fang Qingran must have died after Fang Qingwu faked his death. Nan Gongming stabilized his mind and did not let himself get confused. It was just that we had different positions back then, and we were each on one side. It was not as serious as you said. Has your mother come to heaven this time too? Not coming, Fang Qingran said. When Nan Gongming heard this, his anxious heart suddenly relaxed. Soon, Nan Gongming realized something was wrong. Fang Qingran was Fang Qingwu's child and looked like the god of heaven and moon. So she is still the bloodline of Lord Tianyu. Nan Gongming suddenly recalled the look in Tianyu Shenzun's eyes back then, as if he was about to be delayed. Nan Gongming looked at Fang Qingran without words. If he had known that Fang Qingwu and Tianyu Divine Lord was secretly cheating on Chen Kang, he would never have gone against Fang Qingwu. Well, Miss Fang Qingran, your mother and I are not mortal enemies. Our battle at that time was really just about different stances. I did not kill her, and her death had nothing to do with me. Nan Gongming explained. Fang Qingran said that Fang Qingwu didn't come, but he didn't say that Tianyu didn't come. He didn't believe that Tianyu dared to let Fang Qingran enter the sky. It's okay to have different positions. You have pushed my mother to that point. How can you have the same position? Fang Qingran murmured softly. She has no idea what happened to her mother in heaven. But she could get a glimpse of Zhu Qiang's attitude towards her. Therefore, she needs Nan Gongming to tell God what happened back then, even if it is half truth and half lie. Nan Gongming is already above the realm of a saint, and it is difficult to use prying methods anymore. It is even more unsuitable to use the soul-searching technique. If a being like him were to forcefully search for souls, it would probably be counterproductive. Miss Fang Qingran, after your mother became the Lord of Heaven, I have been in seclusion and have no communication with her. If you don't believe me, you can go out and ask other disciples of the Nangong family. Nan Gongming said. Really, when the 8 of you joined forces with my mother, did you really not do anything at all? Or were you just adding fuel to the flames behind the scenes? Fang Qingran asked. Nan Gongming's face froze, and Fang Qingran was right. But Nan Gongming is also smart, otherwise he would not be alive until now. He noticed that Fang Qingran seemed to be just testing him. There was coldness towards him in her eyes, but there was no deep hatred. Nan Gongming couldn't help but guess, did Fang Qingran just want to hear something from him? Since Fang Qingran knew so little about it, he wouldn't be so nervous and get into trouble. Nan Gongming didn't know why Fang Qingwu didn't tell Fang Qingran about God, but it was better this way. Just gave him some room to operate. He wanted to find a way to give Fang Qingran an illusory truth. Fang Qingran preconceived the idea that Fang Qingwu was also wrong about what happened back then. Miss Fang Qingran, I will tell you the truth, I was also wrong about what happened back then. Nan Gongming said with a good attitude. Immediately, he restrained the hidden pressure in his body, and the aura around him became simple. He actually sat directly on the floor, looking informal. In this way, Fang Qingran and Fang Jingyu were completely in a high position and could look down on him. Fang Qingran's almond-shaped eyes narrowed slightly. He was indeed an old fox who had survived to this day. A few actions made him look extremely sincere. Fang Qingran remained silent, staring at Nan Gongming with confusion on his face. I still don't know your name. Nan Gongming, the 13th head of the Nangong family, has resigned long ago and has completely stopped asking about the affairs of the Nangong family. Nan Gongming said frankly. Since you don't care about the Nangong family's affairs, why are you still hiding in the Nangong family's ancestral land? Fang Qingran asked, pretending to be confused. Better than acting, right? She wants to see how Nan Gongming acts. He had not been involved in world affairs for so long, and he was already full of loopholes when he opened his mouth. Nan Gongming was momentarily stuck. Fang Qingran was really ignorant and could ask such a question. Nan Gongming also reacted very quickly, saying, when I fought with your mother, I was seriously injured. I thought I was going to die, so I stayed here, waiting for my death. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1172 Banded Logic. Unexpectedly, the years I spent in seclusion here actually made my injuries better. I gradually came to like this kind of life of leisurely clouds and wild cranes, and I never wanted to leave here again. Nan Gongming's words express an attitude. He really no longer cares about the Nangong family. Naturally, some grudges must be completely let go. But you always hide in the cave, where are the free clouds and wild cranes? Fang Jingyu asked doubtfully. Nan Gongming. Did these 2 little girls do this on purpose? Where can I get such details? You said you have no grudges against my mother, and at the same time you said you were fighting against my mother. Which statement is the truth? Fang Qingran said with a slightly colder attitude. Nangong Ming sighed helplessly. It's a long story. After your mother became the Lord of Heaven, her opinions were contrary to the development of the 8 families, so she has been at odds with us. We respect your mother's strength, but when it comes to managing God, she is still a little lacking. After all, she didn't understand God before, so she wants to interfere in God's affairs, which naturally arouses strong opposition from the 8 major families. Many forces in heaven want to have a good talk with your mother, but they have failed. Your mother forcefully asked the major families to hand over resources and let her distribute them equally. Who is willing to give up the resources she has obtained? However, your mother is not wrong. She wants our resources because she considers the casual cultivators and wants to create a better cultivation environment for them. God is everyone's God, and she has good intentions when she wants to help casual cultivators. However, the 8 families are intertwined and have their own interests exchanged with each other. Our resources have to be distributed to the family's children. If we give them all away at once, we will definitely not be able to do it. At the beginning, we had a good conversation with your mother and asked her to take a break. Each family can provide some resources to the casual cultivators from time to time. Your mother refused and summoned some casual cultivators to attack the 8 major states. In the end, after many battles, no one got a good deal, so your mother gave up her thoughts and found a place to recuperate. During this period, I only heard the Nangong family's children report these things, and I didn't interfere. I was practicing in seclusion the whole time. However, when I came out again, half of the members of the Nangong family died at the hands of your mother, and several family heads changed at once. I went to fight with your mother because of this matter. In the end, we both lost, so I returned to Nangong's house to heal. After that, I received the news of your mother's death. This is what I know. I can't comment on who is right or wrong, but as the ancestor of the Nangong family, I am definitely on the side of the Nangong family. Actually, your mother was right, she just used the wrong method. After Nangong Ming finished speaking, he shook his head helplessly. Fang Qingwu's strong attitude back then flashed through his mind. As Fang Qingwu's daughter, Fang Qingran must have a deep understanding of her strength. A Lord of Heaven is opposed by 8 major families. It is actually clear who is right and who is wrong. If Fang Qingwu was right, how could there not be a single family to support her? Fang Qingwu should not let the states give up control of their territory. They should not be allowed to allocate resources from the state. Nangong Ming looked at Fang Qingran with his eyes. He had a pair of clear almond eyes and a bright smile on his face. He looked like he didn't understand the dangers of the world. There was a mixture of truth and falsehood in his words. Even if Fang Qingran could distinguish something, it would be impossible to find out what was wrong. According to your opinion, am I determined to be your enemy? Fang Qingran asked slowly. We are not enemies, we just have different stances. Nangong Ming emphasized. Being an enemy and opposing are 2 completely different concepts. He had to make Fang Qingran think that he and Fang Qingwu were just in opposition. You said my mother wanted to steal your resources. Did she? Fang Qingran stared at Nangong Ming and asked seriously. Nangong Ming, why did Fang Qingran choose such a question to ask? How did he answer this? Looking at you, you must have grabbed some, but probably not much. Fang Qingran concluded. Immediately, Fang Qingran thought for a while and said, you 8 major families occupy 2/3 of the land of heaven. The remaining 1/3 seems to be barren land. You don't want it, right? Nangong Ming's heart skipped a beat. He had deliberately avoided this. Why did Fang Qingran ask about this for no reason? Fang Qingran observed Nangong Ming's expression and continued, you 8 major families have vigorously enclosed the area and named this area after their family names, and then asked the monks who originally lived here to submit to you. If they don't submit to you, drive them out of the place where they have lived for a long time. Not only do you ask them to obey your words, but you also ask them to hand over their family's resources to you. This is what you call robbery, right? You just ask them to hand over their resources. You also ask them to get all the resources they get in the future, and all of them will go to your Nangong family. Anyone who dares to hide treasures will die. Those monks who disagree with these rules will be kicked out. If they leave the 8 major states, they will have no choice but to go to the barren land, where monks cannot practice and live at all. You use this method to successfully gain the power to live and kill each monk. Am I right? Fang Qingran asked coldly. The 8 major states of God were not formed in the first place. Instead, after the ancient war, the 8 major families took advantage of the weakness of the powerful parties to deliberately occupy all the resources, and then used the resources to blackmail those powerful people into obeying their orders. If anyone dares to resist, the strong man who is weak will be killed directly. Don't give them a choice at all. This behavior is no different from those of predators. Everything has been unreasonable from the beginning, and there is no need for latecomers to resist. It's ridiculous. Fang Qingran's words made Nangong Ming feel cold all over. They did indeed do this, but no one dared to say it. After all, when they succeeded in occupying the sky, they also took advantage of it. Nangong Ming, when you robbed other monks, why didn't you say it shouldn't be done? My mother just did what you did back then. Why are you so angry? Our Nangong prefecture belongs to the Nangong family. If she takes things from Nangong prefecture, isn't it just robbery? Nangong Ming retorted subconsciously. Fang Qingran sneered and said, didn't you just say that God is the God of all living beings? In that case, the things here should belong to all living beings, right? Why should they be controlled by your Nangong family when they use their own things? Even the treasure in the monk's hand does not belong to him. This logic is simply gangster logic. Nangong Ming seemed to have a temper, so he said matter-of-factly, after they enjoy my protection, they will naturally receive benefits. Isn't this very reasonable? Fang Qingran stared at Nangong Ming and said, the key is, did you protect them? You know very well what you did after you took control of God. Before God, there were no 8 major states, but they were divided into many regions. The monks could freely enter and exit various secret realms with whatever resources they wanted. They could also protect themselves. Everything was fine. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1173 Absolute Realm, Additional Update. It was your 8 major families who suddenly appeared, forcefully divided the heaven into 8 states, and asked them to submit to you. They're even asked to hand over their own resources to your family, so that they can stay in the 8 major states. If they cannot provide resources, they will work for you for free. They live in their own territory, and as a result, you show up, take away their resources, and demand that they obey your orders. In the end, you actually took it for granted that you became the masters of these resources. Excuse me, where do you get your faces? Fang Qingran looked down at Nan Gongming, her eyes as sharp as ice, as if they could pierce Nan Gongming's hypocritical face. Nan Gongming was shocked, and felt the chilling feeling again. At this moment, Fang Qingran gradually became respectful to the Sky Moon God. Nan Gongming could no longer relax and was on guard. Since the ancient war, God has been in chaos. It is the concerted efforts of our 8 major families that have given God such a prospect. You don't understand the original God at all, so you make arrogant comments. You are exactly the same as your mother. She created the situation because she didn't consider God's overall situation. Do you want to be like her now? Nan Gongming said righteously. He thought that this would allow Fang Qingran to reflect. After Fang Qing's fall, almost all those who knew about it were eliminated. The remaining insiders will never reveal the information. The information Fang Qingran got was probably inaccurate. Aha! An afterimage passed by. The Qingguan sword comes out of its scabbard, pointing directly at the bright palace. Slandering my mother in front of me, do you really think I have a good temper? At this moment, Fang Qingran's aura was terrifying and powerful, like an unshakable ancient god, making Nan Gongming's soul fearful. Nan Gongming's pupils shrank sharply, and he said in a trembling voice, how could you? You are not even innocent, why can you? Why can he be suppressed? Fang Qingran jumped up from the swing chair, her clothes flying, and every move she made was calm and majestic. At this moment, she seemed to be connected to the heaven and earth, as if she had entered her absolute domain. Absolute realm. How does Fang Qingran use the absolute realm? Isn't this something that only the Lord of Creation can perform? To deal with you, we don't need the strength of a saint. Fang Qingran said bluntly. The fact that she has not been promoted to saint is not because she cannot advance. It's just that she doesn't want to advance yet. As a cultivator, it is not wise to blindly improve your realm. Waiting until all aspects reach a certain level before being promoted to saint will bring greater benefits. There is no upper limit to the path she wants to take, so naturally she won't be anxious about this matter. Take every step calmly. To be invincible in the same realm is her pursuit. Fang Qingran's words sounded nothing but arrogance to Nan Gongming. At this moment, Fang Qingran's attitude was even more unbridled and arrogant. Nan Gongming, I'll give you another chance. Tell me, how did you deal with my mother back then? Fang Qingran's eyes were as vast as the starry sky, and seemed to be able to penetrate all hidden things. Nan Gongming quietly gathered his strength, and the fierceness in his eyes flashed. Since Fang Qingran dared to do this to him, she must not stay. As for what Fang Qingran said about dealing with him. How arrogant and ignorant. How could the majesty of a saint be violated by Fang Qingran's strength? Nan Gongming's whole body instantly erupted with pressure that destroyed the world. The huge mountain behind him turned into powder in an instant. Except for the huge mountain, the rest of the place was intact. Nan Gongming was dumbfounded when he noticed the scene. Why does this area still exist well? Fang Qingran swung the Qingguan sword in his hand at this moment, with energy flowing through Changhong, and the sword was majestic. Nan Gongming wanted to hide from Fang Qingran's sword, but found that he couldn't move. Boom. Nan Gongming's head is in a different place. Then, his sea of consciousness shattered, and his soul had nowhere to go. Fang Qingran moved her fingertips slightly, and a force enveloped Nan Gongming's soul and soul, shattering them into pieces. From then on, there was no more Nan Gongming in the world. She still understands the principle of eradicating the roots. After doing all this, Fang Qingran threw a storage ring to Fang Jingyu. I collected the fragments of the moon god's eye, and the remaining treasures will be regarded as compensation from him. Fang Qingran said. Sister Fang, I want to. No, you don't want to. Fang Qingran said directly. It was impossible to give the fragments to Fang Jingyu. After getting rid of Nan Gongming, Fang Qingran was not relaxed, but instead felt a sense of crisis. A strong person above the saint realm is a strong person in another realm entirely. If Nan Gongming's saint had not come here improperly, she would not dare to think of getting rid of Nan Gongming today. For example, Bailey Yuanmo was not something she could move. After getting rid of the enemy, why are you still so unhappy? Yan Yu's voice sounded. When Fang Qingran entered the bottom of the cliff, she entered this small world. Jian Fang Qingran can handle it by herself. She didn't interfere. She only appeared after Fang Qingran dealt with Nan Gongming. Yan Yu, I'm still too weak. Fang Qingran said. Yan Yu said with a strange look, are you afraid that you have some misunderstanding about weakness? If you are weak, can you kill a saint-level person with one sword? Xiao Qingran, please give other cultivators a way to survive. She is the Chaos Demon God, which is different from the current path of cultivation. But she also understands that every realm after entering the Imperial realm is very difficult to practice. For example, take the realm of 9 heavens and 10 emperors. What are the 9 heavens and 10 emperors? He is the emperor who can control the world and be successful. The 9 heavens finger can transcend the way of heaven, control its own destiny, sense the power of heaven and earth, and freely shuttle between small worlds in all directions. If you want to cultivate this realm to its peak, you must have the heart of an emperor. The emperor loves everyone in the world. Many monks will stop at this level. After all, the original intention of most monks to practice is just to live forever and live as long as heaven and earth. Then reaching this level is completely enough. Of course, there are also many monks who will use other means to break through this realm. However, they are both in the same realm as the 9 heavens and 10 emperors, and they are also divided into strong and weak ones. Those who are strong can be invincible in the same realm, and can also cross levels to kill the co-lords of heaven and earth. If you want to cultivate each realm to the extreme, you need a lot of patience. If you see other monks who are better than you, don't be impatient. Fang Qingran has always cultivated every level to the point of being invincible before advancing to the next level. In fact, Fang Qingran can be promoted to a saint before she comes to heaven. But Fang Qingran wanted to complete the 9 paths of origin in the territory of origin. He also wanted his sword power to be on par with the realm of origin, so he has been unable to advance. This kind of Fang Qingran can already deal with the first level saint. Although Nangong Ming's saint realm is high, his own aura is turbid and his strength is not strong, so he is not as good as the real first level saint realm. Nangong Ming may not have understood until his death that he was tricked by those who guided him to become a saint. Yan Yue, since he is a saint who has attained enlightenment, why can't thou detect their abnormality? Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1174 Rule Approval. The so-called enlightenment is a test for the ascetic. A strong person in the realm of a saint can already be on par with the planes and avenues. Such a strong person can decide the life or death of billions of living beings with just a thought. If a person with such strength is evil, he will definitely cause catastrophe in the world. It will also put countless living beings in danger. Enlightenment is to test the Taoist heart of this kind of ascetic. Any existence that commits great evil will definitely be unable to achieve enlightenment. Only those who have a heart for the common people or have great love can successfully attain enlightenment and enter the ranks of saints. As for Nangong Ming and Bailey Yuanmo, they had a lot of sins on their bodies and hurt a lot of innocent people. They shouldn't succeed in attaining enlightenment. Nangong Ming said before that he protects the monks in Nangong Prefecture and requires them to be loyal to the Nangong family, which is natural. But his protection is not protection, it is another form of suppression. When the ancient war broke out, the strong men in the top families joined the fight against outsiders, and almost all the strong men in these families fell. Even if there are a few strong ones who survive, their strength is seriously damaged. On the other hand, some weak families did not participate in the battle and unexpectedly preserved the strength of the entire family. These small families include Bailey, Nangong, Wuma, etc. The original small family suddenly became a powerful family in the sky due to the losses of those top families. So they had strange thoughts and decided to join forces and take this opportunity to seize control of God. Among them, Bailey, Nangong, Wuma and other 8 families became the 8 families of heaven. They divided heaven into 8 states. As for the previous top families, they naturally wanted to oppose the 8 major families. Unfortunately, the strong families withered away, leaving only young children who could not compete with the 8 major families whose strength was well preserved. Even if they use the family's treasures, they can't resist the 8 great families who are like wolves and tigers. One of the main purposes of the 8 families in ruling the world is to want the treasures of these top families. The more they use the treasures, the more they will arouse the greed of the 8 families. The 8 families treated the top families in each state with both kindness and power, demanding that they submit to themselves and hand over all the treasures in their families. As for the children of these families, if they do not surrender to the 8 great families, their fate will be to be driven out of the states and find another place to survive. There were also some who resisted fiercely and died immediately. During this period, the 8 great families would also keep an eye on the monks who were kicked out, deliberately suppressing them and denying them any chance to rise. They used this method to occupy the resources of other families. Finally, he signed these resources with his own name and said that he was grabbing the resources to maintain peace in heaven. Take Nangong Prefecture as an example. Nangong Prefecture nominally protected the monks who surrendered, but in fact secretly deliberately suppressed and restricted the monks' advancement. Only those monks who are 100% loyal to the state leader will be allocated the meager resources. 90% of Nangong Prefecture's resources were given to the monks of the Nangong family. The remaining 10% is for those loyal to the Nangong family. As for those monks or families who succumbed to the Nangong family, handed over the family treasures, and stayed in Nangong state, they got nothing and had to find their own ways to find resources. In this way, 90% of the resources they find will be given to the Nangong family. Otherwise, after being discovered, they would be greeted by a killing order from the Nangong family. Under this deliberate suppression, the 8 great families in heaven gradually washed away their sins and became the true rulers. And those families that had resisted outsiders in ancient times had completely disappeared due to the intention of the 8 families. This is why my mother wanted to overthrow the 8 families after she became the Lord of Heaven. The resources of the 8 major families were robbed, and my mother just wanted them to give some of the things they robbed to the original owners. Fang Qingran pieced together these things based on Nangong Ming's memory fragments. Since Nangong Ming was above the Saint realm, after killing him, Fang Qingran did not risk searching for his soul, but chose to directly erase his existence. But I can also see some fragmented memories. These fragmentary memories are what Nangong Ming remembers most deeply. In Nangong Ming's memory, in addition to the truth about the 8 families occupying the heaven, there is also the part about Nangong Ming who proved the saint. That section is very vague. It can only be seen that Nangong Ming did not follow the right path. He used the method of stealing luck to successfully advance to the saint. If this method of advancing to sainthood were widely spread, the entire plane would be in chaos. After all, if you can advance through such a simple method, who would practice hard? Fang Qingran still couldn't figure out why this kind of ascetic could successfully attain enlightenment. Even if there is a problem with the avenue in the plane, there are still rules on the avenue, and the saints who prove the path face the judgment of the rules. These rules and judgments are connected with the Taoism of the world. Dao Dao discovered it and tried to stop it, but as long as there are rules, there will be loopholes. They took advantage of these loopholes in the rules and succeeded in proving the truth. Yan Yu said calmly. After Yan Yu said this, he smiled lightly. Those who succeed in exploiting loopholes in the rules will fall into the abyss again sooner or later, because they themselves are not following the orthodox path. Loopholes in rules have existed since ancient times. But why are many powerful people unwilling to use these loopholes? It's just that the loophole is a trap. It tempts every ascetic with evil thoughts to enter it and become a pawn, a puppet, without any self. This is the price of greed. Xiao Qingran, don't think about these unhappy things. I have one thing to ask you. Do you have power in the 8 great families in the world? Yan Yu asked. My mother mentioned that 2 of the 8 families in heaven have surrendered to her, but because the other 6 families are too strong, they can only stay in the dark for the time being. Yan Yu nodded after hearing this. No wonder, I said, why are their 2 states so special? Fang Qingran asked curiously, who are those 2? Yan Yu responded, one is the Jewish family. I went to Jewish prefecture to see it. The atmosphere in their state is very different. The strength of the casual cultivators there is obviously higher than that of other states. The Jewish family will not deliberately control the strength of the monks in their own state. Many secret realms are open to various forces. There is also the Dagu family. This state is slightly smaller and has few resources, but the atmosphere in the state is very harmonious. The direct descendants of the Dagu family do not feel superior, and they practice together with the monks. In addition, there is an ancestor hiding in the Dagu family. He is the oldest and strongest among the ancestors. He is already at the peak of the Saint realm. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1175 Jinlong Mountain. There is no problem with this ancestor's path to enlightenment. It stands to reason that with such an ancestor sitting in charge, the Dagu family should not be the last family. Yan Yue showed interest when she said this. The family ranking determines the resources allocated by the family and the area of the state. Dagu Jian is willing to remain silent, it must be to protect something. After all, Daguju's location is closest to that barren area. There are still many monks hiding in that barren land. Dagu family, Jewish family. Fang Qingran read these 2 names. Her mother only told her that there were 2 families. Before she could tell her which families they were, they completely disappeared. Yes, the head of the Dagu family is still a woman, which is very rare in heaven, and she seems to be somewhat similar to Dagu Jianyi. Yan Yue said. It's not that there are no strong women in heaven. But the fear left by Fang Qingwu in the powerful beings was too deep, which made him hesitant to let the female cultivators become stronger. I'm afraid that another Fang Qingwu will appear. Ah. What a ridiculous thought. As long as you are worthy of heaven and earth, why should you be afraid of who becomes the strong one? Only those who misbehave themselves will be afraid that other beings will become stronger. Yan Yu, you seem to understand a lot about God. Fang Qingran's eyes suddenly lit up and she stared at Yan Yu and asked. It's not too much. I basically understand everything on the surface. As for the things that were deliberately erased, I don't know. Yan Yue said. Fang Qingran couldn't wait to ask, is it about my mother? Yan Yu shook her head. Unfortunately, your mother was the Lord of the Plains before, and later the Lord of Heaven. Her past and future were covered up by someone. What I can see, you already know. She could also directly pry into Fang Qingwu's entire past. This is not a big expense for her. However, Fang Qingwu and Fang Qingran have connected fates, and prying into these without authorization may affect Fang Qingran. In fact, strong people rarely use the technique of spying. Even if it was snooping, it would only be of recent times. Because anyone who peeks into the destiny must be against the way of heaven, and it will have an impact on both the peeping person and the person being peeped at. Some effects are minimal. But some influences will be invisible, destroying one of the great opportunities. Fang Qingran felt quite regretful after hearing this, and then quickly adjusted her mind, her eyes falling on Yan Yue's clothes. Yan Yue, you have been to the ancient times, have you ever heard of black snakes? When Yan Yu heard Fang Qingran's words, the mood in her eyes changed slightly. Why did you ask about the black snake? Fang Qingran said, the black snake happened in the ancient times, and it even snatched the purple gold gourd. Yan Yue's eyes flashed with dark light, and she said seriously, if it wants to snatch something, it will never give up. If you encounter it, you must be careful. After Yan Yu said this, her expression softened slightly. Xiao Qingran, I have some things to deal with. If I haven't come back before the game, don't worry. After Yan Yue finished speaking, her figure disappeared in front of Fang Qingran. Okay. Fang Qingran responded casually, his eyes darkened slightly. It was difficult to see Yan Yu showing such an expression. It seemed that the origin of the black snake was not simple. Sister Fang, shall we go back to Taihua Palace directly? Xiao Jingyu, when you came to Nangong Prefecture last time, did you find out the specific situation in Nangong Prefecture? Fang Qingran asked. Well, I have found out clearly. At that time, in order to find the whereabouts of the fragments, I almost searched through the entire Nangong Prefecture. Fang Qingran's eyes flashed slightly. The Heaven Exchange competition will be held in Nangong Prefecture. It is not appropriate to touch the Nangong family at this time, but at least some interest must be collected. When the ancestors of the Nangong family snatched resources, they showed no mercy. Then she wouldn't have to worry about anything when she grabbed what they grabbed. Nangong Prefecture. The mountains are endless, the peaks are stacked, the rivers are crisscrossing, like a beautiful unfolding picture, vast and endless, with no end in sight. The Nanzu family lives in the southernmost part of Nangong Prefecture. This is the place with the strongest aura in the entire state. In the center of Nangong Prefecture, there is a huge mountain towering into the clouds. This mountain is also the symbol of Nangong Prefecture. When the Nangong family chose this area as Nangong Prefecture, it was not only related to the Zhenshin clan but also to this mountain. In Nangong Ming's memory, this mountain was home to a 5-clawed golden dragon before ancient times. The golden dragon was so huge that its owner created this huge mountain for it to occupy. This giant mountain, along with its tens of thousands of miles in radius, are all former contractors of the golden dragon. It's just that the contractor died in the ancient war. Even the family behind him suffered heavy losses. Only a few young children in the family survived. But they never imagined that their ancestors had sacrificed their lives to protect the common people, and that they would end up being kicked out of this place. The Nangong family covets not only this mountain, but also the things left by the golden dragon. Anything related to a true dragon is extremely precious to human monks. But after the Nangong family took possession of this area, they found that there was nothing in it. Not even the remaining aura of the dragon was left. The Nangong family was angry with that family, thinking that they had hidden the golden dragon's treasure, and tortured the children of that family a lot. But in the end nothing was found. However, the Nangong family did not give up because of this, and has been looking for treasures about the Golden Dragon. Therefore, this giant mountain has always been guarded by strong men from the Nangong family. Xiao Jin, are you sure you want to reveal your aura now? Danqing scholar stood on the top of the mountain and asked. Master, our ancestors have placed special restrictions here. Only by releasing the breath of the Golden Dragon can we trigger the restrictions and find the inheritance left by our ancestors. The five-clawed Golden Dragon arrived. The scholar Danqing used the power of his consciousness to explore the situation below. There is only a strong man of the first level of the Lord of Origin guarding below. I will lure him away later, and you can go in and look for the inheritance. Really can't wait any longer. If all the contestants are here in the future, if God wants to move the inheritance, more comers will definitely be attracted. It's better to take advantage of this opportunity and let Xiao Jin inherit it. After receiving the inheritance, Xiao Jin no longer has to be afraid of the strong men of the Nangong family. Master, you only need to lure him away. There is no need to fight. The Dragon Clan's ban is triggered very quickly. After triggering the ban, I can activate the protection left by the Dragon Clan. At that time, I can directly drive the opponent out. Xiao Jin was worried. Road. Don't worry, your master and I are not so useless, the painter said soothingly. All thanks to Yanyu. Nowadays, all the 8 major states have too much time to take care of themselves. Even if a big commotion breaks out in Nangong State, the strong men from those states will not rush over immediately. And the strong men in Nangong Prefecture will also be afraid. Okay, after Xiao Jin said this, bursts of golden light began to flash around him. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1176 Nangong Family Treasure House, additional update. The next moment, the whole sky changed drastically. The wind howled. The heaven and earth trembled. Then a golden light pierced the clouds and shot straight into the sky. The shadow of a 5-clawed golden dragon appeared in the sky. The shadow of the golden dragon is dazzling and brilliant. Under the huge shadow, the entire sky was eclipsed. In particular, Nangong Prefecture was almost completely plunged into darkness. Roar. An earth-shaking dragon roar came from Nangong Prefecture. It resounded throughout Nangong Prefecture, showing the mighty dragon power. The elder of the Nangong family who guarded the land of the Golden Dragon deeply felt the pressure and power of the dragon. This kind of power emanates from the blood of the Golden Dragon. The Golden Dragon's huge eyes are bright and sparkling, revealing the unique majesty and nobility of the Dragon Clan. Elder Nangong's soul felt a kind of fear, and at the same time, he was more excited, and the Golden Dragon reappeared. Their Nangong family has finally risen completely in the sky. Just when Elder Nangong wanted to report to his family, a tall figure appeared in front of him. Before he could react, the other party threw a talisman at him. Elder Nangong instantly sensed the danger and ducked to avoid the talisman. Boom. There was an explosion. The Elder Nangong who was affected spat out a mouthful of blood and looked at the scholar Danqing in shock. Who are you? Elder Nangong asked coldly. You don't need to know. After the painting scholar finished speaking, he glanced in the direction of the 5-clawed golden dragon and nodded slightly. Elder Nangong noticed scholar Danqing's movements and his eyes were stern. Are you here for the golden dragon? Don't you know the rules between states? The painting scholar said calmly, there is no need to know. The next moment, with the same wrist as the painter, dozens of talismans flew towards Elder Nangong. Elder Nangong looked at the purple talismans with horror in his eyes. There was actually a monk who managed to get more than a dozen divine-level talismans with just one swing. Could it be that the other party is from Bailey State? Besides Beilazu, who else could have such a big hand? With an ugly expression, Elder Nangong sacrificed all his protective weapons and crushed the communication jade. This kind of jade can only be crushed in times of danger. The purpose is to notify all the powerful people in Nangong Prefecture that Nangong Prefecture is in danger. Boom boom boom. Explosions sounded one after another. It was like the divine thunder from the 9 heavens descending. The painting scholar stood calmly in the air. Elder Nangong, on the other hand, looked completely miserable, with ragged clothes and a grey face. From the Bailey family, you are really bullying me, Elder Nangong said through gritted teeth. If it weren't for his strong body, he might have turned into powder under this god-level talisman. Elder Nangong no longer cared about anything at this moment. He was exuding terrifying coercion, and he had to respect the painting scholar to operate his power. The painter scholar threw over a few more talismans. Then he turned around and ran away. He knew very well that he relied on the talisman, and if he really faced off against Elder Nangong, he wouldn't be able to defeat the other party with just one move. Elder Nangong saw the same talisman coming towards him. Suddenly his anger reached the extreme, and he spent several precious protective magic weapons to avoid the harm caused by the talisman. It's just that at this moment, the painting scholar has escaped from the scope of Jinlong Mountain. Elder Nangong hesitated for a moment, then set off to chase the Danqing scholar. This golden dragon appeared, and the situation was unknown, so he didn't need to take action yet. But the painting scholar must catch it. This time, the Bailey family will have to pay a certain price for whatever they say. Scholar Danqing noticed that Elder Nangong was pursuing the case, so he took a few pictures of the talisman on himself. He is no match for Elder Nangong in a fight. But if he runs away, Elder Nangong will definitely not be able to catch up with him. The Danqing scholar thought about it and realized that Elder Nangong had mistakenly thought that he was from the Bailey family, so let's put this misunderstanding to the end. Now that he has an illusion, all he has to do is run to a place where there are many Nangong monks. He will first cause panic in the entire Nangong Prefecture, and then go back to find Xiao Jin. Scholar Danqing went directly to the area where the Nangong family was. Elder Nangong chases the Danqing scholar and is always one step away from catching up with him. And all the attacks he landed on the painting scholar were ineffective. Elder Nangong gradually became depressed, feeling that the other party was deliberately trying to sneak away from him. At the same time, after Nangongshan noticed the appearance of the golden dragon, he called all the elders. While the appearance of the Golden Dragon brought opportunities to Nangong State, it also brought danger to them. Other states will definitely not give up the Golden Dragon easily. Especially the Bailey family. Master, the Golden Dragon of Jinlong Mountain has reappeared. I'm afraid it will cause turmoil. How should we defend ourselves? Nangong Shan said seriously. Great Elder, you lead the 5 origin masters of the family to activate the defense formation of Nangong State. Non-bloods of the Nangong family are not allowed to enter this state. Second Elder, go find the ancestor and tell him about this. Third Elder, you go and meet the Supreme Elder who is guarding Nangong Prefecture, and stare at the Golden Dragon with him. By the way, see whether the Golden Dragon comes out of Jinlong Mountain or enters Jinlong Mountain from outside. Fourth Elder, your mission is to keep an eye on the entire state. Anyone who is not a descendant of the Nangong family and has different intentions will be killed without mercy. Pay special attention to those forces and don't let them have the opportunity to approach Jinlong Mountain. Fifth Elder, during this extraordinary period, just keep an eye on the layout of the competition venue and don't delay the subsequent competitions. Seventh Elder and Eighth Elder, please accompany me to the entrance of Nangong State and wait for the strong men from other states. As Nangong Mountain went down one by one, several family heads took orders and left the place. Nangong Shan's eyes darkened. The Golden Dragon and the Zhenshin clan returned to the sky together. Is it a coincidence, or is it someone who is behind it? Above the Nangong family. After Fang Qingran heard Nangong Shan's arrangements, her eyes glanced in the direction of Jinlong Mountain. This was just the right time. Fang Jingyu asked curiously, Sister Fang, is the Golden Dragon in Jinlong Mountain the one in Chang Pavilion? Should be. Da Kun had told her before that the 5-clawed Golden Dragon was the only true dragon in this plane. Sister Fang, do we still want to take action? At this time, the Nangong family was obviously much more heavily guarded. They are heavily guarded and their thoughts are on the Golden Dragon. They will definitely not be able to think of the treasure house at the moment. Fang Qingran switched time and space, and she and Fang Jingyu entered the Nangong family's treasure house. Fang Jingyu immediately used the Moonlight Divine Water to control all the strong men. Prevent them from attracting more powerful people. Fang Qingran had told her before that these strong men should survive. They just want to steal things blatantly, so as not to implicate the innocent monks in Nangong Prefecture. After all, the entire treasure house had been evacuated. When Nangongshan was furious, he would inevitably make a move that would rather kill the suspect than let go of the suspicious person. And when she does things, she never wants to implicate the innocent. When Fang Qingran saw clearly what was in the Nangong family's treasury, he couldn't help but exclaim, God is worthy of being God, and it is really not comparable to the immortal world. Magical weapon level, 1 to 10th grade, Fairy grade artifact, Holy artifact, Emperor grade artifact, Ancient, Hongmeng, Supreme grade. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1177 The Same Scar. Entrance to Nangongshu. When Nangongshan arrived here with the 7th and 8th elders, he saw many powerful figures. There are many strong people hiding in the dark. Nangongshan even sensed a unique pressure. It was similar to the oppressive feeling when the sun appeared before. A dark light flashed across Nangongshan's eyes. It was inevitable that the saint would focus on the Golden Dragon, but he did not expect that the saint would come so quickly. Nangongshan winked at the 7th elder beside him. The 7th elder immediately and quietly retreated to Nangong Prefecture to invite Patriarch Nangong to come. The saint came here but did not show up. The one he was afraid of was Patriarch Nangong. Although Patriarch Nangong is the lowest among these saints, Patriarch Nangong's intimidating power is not low. Patriarch Nangong is among the youngest saints in heaven. Although in the world of cultivation, the concept of age is extremely vague, there are still many things that can be seen from age. The more qualified a practitioner is, the faster he will advance. As for qualifications, first of all, look at the age when he became a strong person. The younger the strong person, the higher his future potential and the better his qualifications. Ancestor like Nangong, who attained enlightenment and became a saint very early, is still enough to arouse a certain amount of fear. After all the main members of the 8 great families of God have no shortage of resources. With the same resources, what matters is everyone's promotion speed. Nangong Shan was well aware of the intimidating power of Ancestor Nangong, so even though he was afraid of the saint hiding in the dark, he still did not show a dignified expression. Nangongshan's eyes fell on the faces of several family heads. Good to see the same scars on their faces. However, among these family heads, only Bailey Zhu's cheeks were swollen. The wound on Bailey Zhu's face was inflicted by Yan Yue herself, so he could only heal it slowly and there was no way to remove the traces. The remaining family heads were beaten by their ancestors. Although the whipping is a bit harsh, it can still be cured with healing elixirs. Bailey Zhu's identity was there, and he can cover his face with anything, so he could only come out with a face on his face. On the contrary, several strong men behind Wu Makan wore hats one after another, and no skin was exposed on their whole bodies. The same is true for several powerful men behind Wang Qimao. Nangongshan suddenly figured out why the saint wanted to hide in the dark. I was afraid that the scar on my face hadn't healed yet, and I was afraid that I would lose my majesty when I came out, so I simply hid in the dark. Everyone, it's not time for the competition yet. What advice do you have here? Nangongshan asked, pretending not to know. Zhu Qiang looked at each other. Dongfang Yang was the first to speak. The appearance of the Golden Dragon has alarmed the entire heaven. Naturally, we want to see the Golden Dragon. Zhu Song smiled modestly. Master Nangong, you hid it so deeply. You actually hid a Golden Dragon quietly in Nangong Prefecture. Wu Makan echoed. Yes, Master Nangong, you are really hiding deep. When the ancestors of the Nangong family chose this area, they must have known that the Golden Dragon would reappear. Wang Qimao continued. Speaking of this, I remembered something. I have read it in the records. At that time, the ancestors of the Nangong family specifically gave up a spiritual vein mine in order to obtain this Golden Dragon Mountain. There was silence as the 4 family heads spoke. The strong men from other forces did not dare to interrupt easily. The person who came to the Shangwen family this time was not Shangwen Wen, but the supreme elder of the family. The Supreme Elder chose to wait and see what happened and remained silent. De Guyen, as usual, had no sense of existence. It seems that he is just here to make up the numbers. Bailey Zhu stared at Nangong Shan with sharp eyes, as if he wanted to find out something from the other person's expression. I'm afraid you may have misunderstood. What you saw was just the shadow of the Golden Dragon. As for the real Golden Dragon, our Nangong family is still investigating. Of course, Nangong Shan would not directly admit the existence of the Golden Dragon. Even if the powerful powers of heaven saw the Golden Dragon falling into Nangong Prefecture, so what? At this moment, Jinlong was not here again. The Supreme Elder of the family has already sent word that Jinlong disappeared after entering Jinlong Mountain. Those strong men sent to Jinlong Mountain are now unable to enter Jinlong Mountain. They're trying to find a way to break through the barrier of Jinlong Mountain. Whether the Golden Dragon appears briefly or completely remains unknown. Master Nangong, you are not interested anymore. There is no need to be secretive when the real dragon reappears. Let us go in and have a look. We are not here to snatch the Golden Dragon, Dongfang Yang said. Several family heads nodded. Of course they won't rob him. After all, the Dragon Clan's choice of master depends on their strength. As long as they let the Golden Dragon follow them, it won't be considered a rob. And they can be sure that the Golden Dragon that just appeared is not from the Nangong family. Powerful people from all sides have different ideas. However, at this moment they all have the same goal, to enter Nangong State. Nangongju's barriers and formations have been activated. It's not easy for them to break in. After all, there is a saint in the Nangong family. It would be bad if he angered the saint and caused a lose-lose situation. There will be a competition after God. This is not the time to start a war over the Golden Dragon. Nangong glanced at Dongfang Yang coldly, and the abacus beads were about to fall off his face. Now just go in and take a look. I'm afraid I'm going to grab it later. But it is impossible not to let them in. There are saints hidden behind them. Ancestor can intimidate them, but it is impossible to truly be an enemy of all saints. He wanted to drag them until Patriarch Nangong came before agreeing to let them in. Only if Patriarch Nangong is here in person can more trouble be avoided. Nangong Shan said slightly seriously, everyone, you can go in if you want, but we are still investigating the cause. Please wait here until the cause is unknown. Zhu Song said gently and politely, Master Nangong is really polite. Our 8 families are one. In this situation, you Nangong Prefecture must lack strong people. We can go in and investigate together. After all, the appearance of the Golden Dragon may be a conspiracy against God. We can't just let it go. Head of the Nangong family, do you think so? Zhu Song's words attracted countless gazes. Bailey Zhu agreed, Nangong Mountain, Zhu Song is right. Your Nangong Prefecture is a place used for holding competitions. If the Golden Dragon affects the competition, it will delay a big event. Wumakan nodded and said, Master Nangong, this competition is related to the face of the entire god, and there must be no mistakes. Dongfang Yang touched Yuanyuan's belly and said, Master Nangong, we are not only concerned about Jinlong's affairs. We are mainly worried about the competition. If you continue to block it, we are afraid that we will become suspicious. Dongfang Yang's words stopped abruptly, leaving Zhu Qiang unlimited room for imagination. In fact, Zhu Qiang doesn't care about the competition at all. They just want to go in and get the Golden Dragon. But Dongfang Yang's words reminded them. As a result, many strong men from various forces turned their eyes slightly and wanted to speak. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1178 The 8th Elder of Drama Queen. When the 8th Elder of Nangong saw this scene, a shrewd look flashed in his eyes. Seeing that all the strong men were ready to make a move, he knew that he could not give other strong men a chance to speak. The straight waist of Elder Nangong instantly bent down. He took a step forward and stood in front of Nangongshan. He was already short in stature, and now that he was stooped, he was even shorter. So he stepped forward and did not block Nangongshan. On the contrary, it made him very weak. Zhu Qiang was very puzzled when he saw the trembling appearance of the 8th Elder Nangong. Everyone, cough, cough, cough. As soon as the 8th Elder spoke a few words, he started coughing. A series of coughs escaped from the 8th Elder's mouth. Suddenly, the entire area fell into an eerie silence. They had reason to suspect that the 8th Elder was going to faint from coughing. Finally, the 8th Elder stopped coughing. He opened his mouth to speak again. You guys, please stop forcing the family leader. You worked hard for the competition, cough cough cough, now, it's just a Golden Dragon vision, you just force the family master. Poof. When the 8th Elder Nangong was mid-sentence, he started to spurt blood. Blood poured out of his mouth like a sky pillar. Splashing everywhere. All the powerful people set up barriers around their bodies to block the blood. There were also strong men who reacted slowly and had their faces sprayed with blood. Some were even covered in blood. In this way, anger filled the eyes of the powerful men. The 8th Elder was the Lord of Origin after all, how could he be so weak? I'm afraid you didn't mean to discuss them. But they didn't have time to get angry. The 8th Elder Nangong fell backward weakly. Nangongshan immediately raised his hand to support the 8th Elder. 8th Elder, Nangongshan shouted nervously. The 8th Elder Nangong took advantage of the situation and grabbed Nangongshan's lapel. Master, it's all my fault. It's all my fault. It's because I didn't take good care of our state. Hey, I feel ashamed of the ancestors of the Nangong family. If I was stronger, I wouldn't be affected by the pressure of the Golden Dragon and end up like this. Zhu Qiang was speechless. Don't think we can't tell, you are acting. But as they maintain their own identities, they have nothing to say at this moment. Cough cough cough. The 8th Elder coughed up a few more mouthfuls of blood and continued, Master, I am guilty. Throw me out and make amends to these powerful men. It was my fault in guarding that made me ignorant of the situation of the Golden Dragon. You said that if this Golden Dragon is good, let all the strong men go in. But if the Golden Dragon is a cruel dragon, let everyone in like this. If they're injured or die at the Golden Dragon, how should we explain to other families? So I opened Nangongju's barrier and formation without permission to prevent them from entering. I'm not afraid of anything else. I'm just worried that something will happen to Jinlong. If they all go to Nangong Prefecture and something goes wrong, who can afford it? Master, you'd better push me out. I took it upon myself to block their way. After the 8th Elder Nangong finished speaking tremblingly, he wanted to get up. But before he got up, he spurted out a few more mouthfuls of blood. It almost splashed Nangongshan's face. Fortunately, Nangongshan opened the protective barrier in advance. Nangongshan's face was heavy. 8th Elder, you are doing this for the sake of God. You are not wrong in this matter. Zhu Qiang knew that Nangongshan and the 8th Elder were acting. Nangongshan and the 8th Elder also knew that Zhu Qiang knew that they were acting. It doesn't matter, as long as we can hold them back and prevent them from entering, we can do anything. Zhu Qiang was speechless. 8th Elder, can you act better? You seem to be coughing up blood, but your breath is steady, your face is rosy, you are full of energy, and you don't look like you are terminally ill. The head of the Nangong family. Cough, master, my heart aches. As soon as Zhu Song opened his mouth and uttered a few words, he was interrupted by the 8th Elder Nangong. How about you take bar? Patriarch, what should we do? Are we in Nangong Prefecture going to be in trouble? The 8th Elder Nangong said sadly. Dongfang Yang was slightly speechless. He wanted to finish his words quickly, but he didn't expect that he still couldn't finish it faster than the 8th Elder. So next, whenever anyone wanted to speak, the 8th Elder would cough and interrupt the other person's words, always looking like he was dying. This was their first time meeting a shameless strong man like the 8th Elder. Strong people cherish their feathers very much and never show their weak side in public. Even if he is injured, he will hold on and find a quiet place before he can show his vulnerability. Most of the strong men faced many monks with a majestic image. At this moment, Zhu Qiang looked helplessly at the 8th Elder who kept coughing up blood. It was not that they had no way to deal with the 8th Elder. They were just afraid that the monks from the lower world would see the joke. Didn't you see that the group of contestants from the fairy world have already arrived? Ever since Yanyu caught the ancestor of the 4 states and beat him up, God now has an unspoken message, that is, not to provoke the monks in the immortal world. In addition to the immortal monks, demons also came. As soon as the demons came to heaven, they went straight here. Not many powerful people in the demon clan participated in the ancient war. After the ancient war, the demon clan completely closed the demon world. Therefore, it is unknown what the overall strength of the demon clan is now. Bailey Zhu finally couldn't stand it any longer, and forcibly released his pressure, suppressing the 8th Elder Nangong, and said to Nangongshan, Master Nangong, your family elder is so seriously ill, you'd better take him back as soon as possible. Although the 8th Elder Nangong was afraid of the pressure released by Bailey Zhu. But now that he has taken this step, he must wait until Patriarch Nangong comes before he gets up. The 8th Elder Nangong said in a trembling voice, Master Bailey, I'm not sick. I'm just worried too much and that's why I'm like this. Nangongshan, think clearly. The monks from the immortal world and the demonic world are watching now. Are you sure you want to continue like this? Bailey Xu didn't bother to pay attention to the 8th Elder and directly sent a message to Nangongshan. Master Bailey, the 8th Elder is right. The situation is unclear now, and I dare not let you in. If something happens to you when you go in, how can I explain to the Bailey family? Nangongshan said through a message. Anyway, it's not him who's anxious now. All he had to do was hold off these strong men. The rest depends on how the ancestor handles it. If that golden dragon really exists, it can only belong to his Nangong family. At this moment, Nangongshan received a message from the 4th Elder of Nangong. The head of the family, the Supreme Elder is chasing a monk and causing trouble in Manangongju. Our actions have been seriously disrupted. The 4th Elder Nangong had lost most of his hair at this moment, and shouted to the secret guard beside him, I ask you to stop the Supreme Elder, not to let you go crazy with him. What has become of the entire Nangong prefecture? The secret guard said, 4th Elder, the Supreme Elder asked us to arrest that monk, and we dare not disobey. The 4th Elder Nangong took a deep breath and looked dizzy as he looked at the chaotic Nangong state below. The good Nangongju is now in a mess. The magnificent city that once stood in it has become a ruin. The pleasant scenery of mountains and rivers was even more ruined. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1179, he ran away, he chased, additional update. The monk fled in front. The Supreme Elder chased after him desperately. He kept shouting, stop, don't let me catch you, or I will cut you into pieces. 4th Elder Nangong held his forehead, feeling a splitting headache as he watched the drama that was still going on. If this continues, how will they track down the suspects? If he hadn't chased the monk himself and failed to catch up, he would have suspected that the Supreme Elder was deliberately playing him. The monk's strength was obviously not as good as theirs, but his speed was incredible. They have tried all kinds of methods and can stop each other. And the talisman thrown by the other party was a divine talisman. Smoke talismans, thunder talismans, odor talismans, poison talismans, etc., all kinds of strange talismans were thrown out, and they were overwhelmed. If they don't handle it carefully, they will be the ones hurt. There is no way to avoid these talismans. After dodging, they will also chase their breath, fly towards them again, and then explode when they are about to approach them. The Nangong family has lost many strong men in pursuit of this monk. However, the Supreme Elder seemed to be possessed by a demon, insisting on chasing the opponent, and had the energy to not give up until he caught the opponent. The 4th Elder Nangong looked down, his hair was messy, his beard and eyebrows were all gone, and he looked like an old man in ragged clothes. For a moment, I couldn't even recall the majestic appearance of the Supreme Elder. Only the image in front of him was engraved into his sea of consciousness. 4th Elder, do you want to continue to arrest suspicious people? A secret guard next to him asked cautiously. They found many suspicious persons, but none of them were caught, all because of the Taishang Elder's troubles. What the hell? Why don't you ask the ancestor to come and hold the Supreme Elder back? The 4th Elder Nangong roared. The Supreme Elder's strength is simply beyond what they can stop. Only Patriarch Nangong can cure him. Fortunately, there is Patriarch Nangong who can control the Supreme Elder. But as soon as the fourth Elder Nangong took a breath, he discovered that the monk who had been circling Nangong state went straight to Jinlong Mountain. Suddenly, the fourth Elder's alarm sounded. The other party must be heading for the Golden Dragon and must stop him. With this talisman in hand, it is really possible for the other party to become the master of the Golden Dragon. Quick, stop him, don't let him get close to Jinlong Mountain. The fourth Elder of Nangong shouted to the leader of the secret guard beside him. Yes. The leader of the secret guards waved, and a dozen secret guards flew out. Below. The Supreme Elder couldn't catch up with the painting scholar and was almost furious. When he found out that the painting scholar was going to Jinlong Mountain, he suddenly became vigilant. Use all your strength to pursue the painting scholar. We are about to catch up. The next moment, he saw the other party passing through the barrier of Jinlong Mountain and entering. The figure quickly disappeared. The Supreme Elder hit the barrier, and the power around him immediately dissipated. The Supreme Elder looked surprised. He couldn't enter the barrier of Jinlong Mountain. Why could the monk in front of him enter? The third Elder Nangong noticed the movement here and hurried over, only to see the Supreme Elder clinging to the barrier in a daze. Taishang Elder, this is a new formation barrier. We are trying to break it. So, none of you have been in. Yes, the third Elder said. The Supreme Elder's eyes were like daggers, a formation barrier that so many formation masters in Nangong Prefecture can't break. The third Elder lowered his head, feeling slightly ashamed. Did you see the monk I chased before going in? Asked the Supreme Elder. When the third Elder heard this, his expression suddenly became serious. Does the Supreme Elder know his specific strength and origin? Chasing for so long. You should know something. When the Supreme Elder heard the third Elder's question, he glared at the other party and said angrily, if I knew him well, would I not be able to catch up with him? The third Elder did not dare to accept this sentence. The Supreme Elder looked at the formation barrier in front of him and said with certainty, this kid is definitely the hidden ace of the Bailey family. Why do you say that? Asked the third Elder. HMPH. Apart from the Bailey family, who else is willing to throw out hundreds of god-level talismans? At least our Nangong family can't do it. Taishang Elder said. The Nangong family does have many god-level treasures. But since ancient times, talisman masters have been rare and noble beings. If a monk wants to become a talisman master, the conditions are extremely harsh. The talisman master needs to inject huge amounts of heaven and earth energy into a piece of talisman paper. The whole process consumes a huge amount of spiritual consciousness. And in the process of drawing the symbols, if there is a slight mistake, it will fail. If it's more serious, it will destroy people and kill them. Therefore, those who can become talisman masters are all talented people. And those who can draw divine talismans are those who are destined to do so. Basically no force dares to offend this kind of existence. God had given birth to a divine talisman master before, and the talisman master became a guest of the Bailey family. I heard that the other party can draw a god-level talisman in 10 years. However, the talisman master was born with weak cultivation. The talisman master did not find a way to advance until his longevity expired, and he could only die with regret. After the opponent's death, God never gave birth to a god-level talisman master again. Judging from how long the talisman master had been loyal to the Bailey family, he could draw at least 1,000 god-level talismans. Talismans are slightly inferior to artifacts. But when using the talisman, there is no need to consume power. Fu Lu's attacks can also be unexpected. The talisman can also be used to save one's life when exhausted. The Nangong family currently has hundreds of divine talismans preserved. These talismans are sealed in the Nangong family's treasury. They would not be willing to use it until an urgent moment came. He dared to say that in the entire universe, except for the Bailey family, all other families combined did not have as many divine-level talismans as the Nangong family. An attack from a god-level talisman is equivalent to a full blow from the realm of origin. God-level talismans are extremely precious. Except for the Bailey family, no one dares to waste it like this. The Supreme Elder stared at Jin Longshan with sadness and said, I suspect that the Bailey family still has a divine-level talisman master. Send a message to Nangongshan and tell Nangongshan that if the Bailey family wants a golden dragon, they can exchange it for a talisman master. The third Elder looked at the Supreme Elder in confusion and said, Supreme Elder, do we want to give up the golden dragon? Compared with god-level talisman masters, the golden dragon is obviously more precious. This is a real dragon. As long as they are protected by the golden dragon, the Nangong family will surely reach a high level in the future. Snapped. The Supreme Elder slapped the third Elder on the back of the head. Stupid. That kid has already entered Jinlong Mountain. He has obviously been approved by Jinlong. We can't compete with him. We must seek more benefits while the news has not spread. The Supreme Elder's anger subsided and his rationality returned, and he quickly analyzed the pros and cons. The return of the golden dragon must not be hidden. Rather than getting the golden dragon in front of everyone, it is better to let the golden dragon go and seek more benefits. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1180 Looting 1 Empty, Golden Ticket 1. After all, the golden dragon attracts endless greed. This kind of greed is not so easy to quell. Even the Bailey family is afraid of attracting the attention of greedy people. Back then, the reason why the Bailey family didn't dare to monopolize the heaven was because they were afraid of being a dominant family and causing backlash. Taishang Elder, don't you need to discuss this matter with the ancestor? The third Elder asked cautiously. Why are you asking? He knows nothing, the Supreme Elder said unceremoniously. Nangong Jian just took the name of an ancestor. In terms of qualifications and planning, Nangong Jian is not the ancestor of the Nangong family at all. The reason why Nangong Jian became the ancestor of Nangong was related to his becoming a saint. But how Nangong Jian became a saint, other monks in the family didn't understand, but he knew it clearly. He advised Nangong Jian not to attain enlightenment just for the sake of attaining enlightenment. In that case, there will be endless troubles. But Nangong Jian didn't listen to him at all. In his eyes, he only saw the benefits of becoming a saint and couldn't see any bad things. After Nangong Jian successfully attained enlightenment, he deliberately asked the monks of the Nangong family to ignore his age and forget that he was the father of the current head of the family. It also gradually led many monks to think that Nangong Jian's qualifications were very old. In fact, Nangong Jian's position as the head of the family was not considered above board. During the Battle of Heaven, many powerful members of the family died in the battle with Feng Qingwu, almost causing the family's inheritance to be cut off. The head of the family who passed the throne to Nangong Jian originally had a more preferred successor. But at that time, the inheritor was led to other states by Nangong Jian and did not have time to come back to accept the inheritance from the family head. Nangong Jian took this opportunity to receive the inheritance from the family head, and naturally became the family head. After becoming the head of the family, Nangong Jian often made wrong decisions because he had not experienced the cultivation of the previous head of the family, causing serious losses to Nangong Prefecture. The other family heads laughed at Nangong Jian behind his back. Therefore, Nangong Jian has always been holding his breath and must achieve enlightenment and become a saint. So Nangong Jian took out the resources accumulated by his ancestors and kept throwing them at himself. In the end, he used that method again and became a saint. Nangong Jian has some small talents, but he does not have the talent and courage to take charge of a state. If it weren't for the foundation of Nangong's ancestors, the Nangong family would probably fall out of the second family. Supreme Elder, the ancestor is a saint after all. It would be better if he came forward, the third elder suggested in a low voice. He actually didn't quite understand why the Supreme Elder didn't like Nangong Jian. After Nangong Jian became the head of the family, although he did not achieve much, he at least ensured the stability of the Nangong family. He was promoted to a saint again. This allowed the Nangong family to stabilize its current position. Saint, oh, this name is really useful. After the Supreme Elder sighed, he narrowed his eyes slightly, as if he had thought of something, and waved his hand. Go and tell him, the Golden Dragon may already have an owner, and it is not appropriate for the Nangong family to rob it. How will he decide that I will not participate in the rest? The third elder looked surprised. You also go down, leave this place to me to guard. After the elder Taishang finished speaking, he looked like he didn't want to say anything. He ducked down and chose a place to sit cross-legged. Seeing this, the third elder could only leave. Inside the Nangong family treasure house, Feng Qingran looked at the dazzling array of treasures. Looking at them one by one, it was soon discovered that none of the treasures here were lower than the imperial grade. Although the grading of various treasures is slightly different, they're generally the same. Wangpin is the lowest level of magic weapon category. This type of magic weapon is suitable for monks in the foundation building stage. Earth level and Shren level magic weapons are medium level magic weapons, which are suitable for monks in the golden elixir and nascent soul stages. Tianpin is a high level magic weapon. Any strong person who has reached the realm of divine transformation will basically no longer use weapons that are below the level of heaven. After all, the strength is there. Low-level magic weapons cannot withstand the power of the god transformation realm. Moreover, the use of low-level magic weapons will also limit the power of the god. When the monk's strength reaches the realm of peeping into the sky, it is best to use fairy and holy magic weapons. This kind of magic weapon already contains a trace of the power of heaven and earth. When used, it can maximize the power of the sky peeping realm. The imperial grade magic weapon is suitable for use by immortals. This type of magical weapon already has a sword soul and can be well integrated with the user. Above the imperial level are divine weapons. Magical weapons of this level are extremely rare. Strong men who have reached the level of the Emperor will look for artifacts to use as magic weapons. After all, if a magic weapon wants to have a spirit, it must at least be a divine weapon. Those who have entered the Emperor can already glimpse the Tao, and naturally understand the benefits of the level of magical weapons to themselves. But if the artifact was so easy to obtain, it wouldn't be called an artifact. There are a lot of artifacts in the Nangong family's treasury that the outside world can't find despite all their efforts. And the artifacts here are of very good quality. Feng Qingran was very satisfied with having robbed the entire treasure house. When she was about to leave, she felt a special aura. Feng Qingran stopped in front of a wall and released the power of consciousness. What's wrong with Sister Feng? Feng Jingyu asked curiously. There is a treasure in this wall. After Feng Qingran finished speaking, he raised his hand and lightly pressed somewhere on the wall. Rumble, a thick sound sounded, and the stone wall in front of me moved away. Reveal the secret door behind the wall. There is a trough in the door. Feng Qingran's eyes suddenly lit up. Although she had collected many treasures before, she always felt that something was missing. It turns out that the real good treasure is hidden here. Sister Feng, there are special restrictions on this. Only the blood of the Nangong family can open it. Feng Jingyu reminded. This is easy to handle. Feng Qingran smiled and took out a small porcelain bottle and poured the blood inside into the slot of the secret door. Feng Jingyu looked at Feng Qingran with slight confusion. This is Nangong Ming's blood. When I killed him before, I kept some of his blood on a whim, but I didn't expect it to come in handy. Feng Qingran explained. Feng Qingran said this, but Feng Jingyu understood that this was a sign of Feng Qingran's caution. God values bloodlines so much. Restrictions in many families are opened by blood. Keeping Nangong Ming's blood is naturally useful. After all, bloodline is a thing that becomes thinner the more inherited it is. Nowadays, in the entire Nangong family, Nangong Ming's bloodline is undoubtedly the purest. After the secret door is opened, Feng Qingran did not step into it easily, but threw something over first. After seeing clearly what Feng Qingran had thrown, Feng Jingyu's mouth twitched. The creature in the divine phoenix egg probably regretted it, right? The divine phoenix egg rolled around inside for a few times before returning to Feng Qingran's feet. Feng Qingran put away the divine phoenix egg and then stepped into it. The strong ancient aura hit her face. Sister Feng, this is the shield of holy light, which can resist 3 attacks from saints. Feng Jingyu pointed to a golden shield. The golden shield is an acquired spiritual treasure that appeared in the prehistoric period. The Nangong family actually has treasures from the prehistoric period, which is really profound. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1181 Shield of Holy Light. Fang Qingran looked at the Shield of Holy Light with satisfaction. This thing is very suitable for her today. The Shield of Holy Light can withstand 3 attacks from the saint in a row. It's not that it can only withstand 3 attacks. But after 3 times, the Holy Light Shield will enter a dormant state. After the energy in it is replenished, it can withstand 3 attacks from the saint. As for the attacks under the saint, it can withstand more attacks. Fang Qingran completed the contract with the Holy Light Shield without hesitation. In an instant, the dark room lit up with a flash of brilliance, and then the Shield of Holy Light disappeared and merged with Fang Qingran's soul. There seems to be a weapon soul inside the Holy Light Shield. It's just that this weapon soul immediately fell into a deep sleep after making a contract with her. Fang Qingran's face stiffened. It was outrageous. She had wondered before why the Nangong family didn't contract the Shield of Holy Light. It turns out that this Holy Light Shield is a defective product. If you choose a contract, you can only rely on the contractor to repair it. As for how the contractors can fix it, the meaning conveyed by the Holy Light Shield's weapon soul is that it doesn't know either. Fang Qingran was speechless. Fortunately, the current Holy Light Shield is not bad either, and can withstand 3 full blows from the Lord of Origin. Sister Fang, what's wrong? Xiao Jingyu, do you know how to repair the Holy Light Shield? Fang Jingyu thought for a while and said, Sister Fang, I remember that the Shield of Holy Light is a self-defense weapon specially made for saints. This Holy Light probably has something to do with saints. But Sister Fang, there is no need to worry. All acquired spiritual treasures will automatically choose their owner. Since it is willing to make a contract with you, it proves that you have the means to repair it. Fang Qingran felt it and found that there was a layer of faint golden light above her soul. This was the protective layer formed by the Holy Light Shield on her soul. With this layer of protection, even if she has no strength at all, strong men will not be able to attack her soul. Hongmeng, do you know how to repair the Holy Light Shield? Fang Qingran's voice transmission awakened the sleeping Hongmeng tree. Hongmeng tree reacted. The Shield of Holy Light naturally needs the light of saints to repair it. The simplest way is that when other saints attain enlightenment, you will be struck by lightning together. The difficult way is very difficult. There is no way to achieve it in a short time. Control the law of light and then use the law of light to repair it. Xiao Fang, this Holy Light Shield is a good thing, but it is also a very deceptive thing. What was originally built was robbed by the powerful. It was not called the Shield of Holy Light at first, but was called the Shield of the Void. It can withstand the attack of the Lord of the Void. After the power in the Void Shield is exhausted, the contractor needs to replenish the power in time, otherwise the magic weapon will be directly damaged the next time it is used. If things go on like this, the magic weapon will be degraded, and the soul inside the magic weapon will be injured and even disappear. When this thing was called the Void Shield, the way to replenish energy was the same as now. One was its master, and when other Void Lords advanced, they were struck by lightning. The second is that its master controls the law of the Void and uses the power of the law to replenish energy for it. There are very few people who can possibly achieve these 2 things, and those who can really achieve these 2 things probably don't need the protection of the Void Shield. So the Void Shield was worn away little by little, and finally turned into the current Holy Light Shield. Hongmangshu noticed that Fang Qingran had contracted with the Shield of Holy Light, so he put it mildly. The Shield of Light is good. Having it is equivalent to having several more chances to survive in times of danger. However, the Shield of Holy Light is a huge pit. It requires you to take risks when it is safe, or to drag other practitioners to take risks with you. When a cultivator advances, the sky thunder contains the power of certain laws, which is a test and judgment for the cultivator himself. When a monk is going through a tribulation, if another monk breaks into the range of his tribulation, the power of the sky thunder will continue to increase in power based on the strength of the intruder. If the intruder is much higher than the person who has overcome the tribulation, the thunder may turn into a divine punishment. This kind of rule is, firstly, to prevent those who transcend the tribulation from cheating the way of heaven, and insisting on forcibly advancing even though they clearly do not have the strength to advance. The second is to protect those who have overcome the tribulation from persecution by other monks. Therefore, no one who is going through the tribulation will accept an intruder when he is going through the tribulation. No one would be tempted to venture into a place where monks can overcome tribulations. In this case, naturally no contractor would want to repair it. Hongmeng, if I repair it carefully, can it be transformed into a Shield of the Void, or even a high level one? Fang Qingran was not at all depressed after listening to Hongmeng's words. Instead, she felt that this was a spell tailor-made for her. Device. Isn't it the way of law? She practiced these laws anyway. In addition, if she needs to break into the place where other tribulation transcenders are undergoing tribulation, she will definitely ensure that the tribulation transcenders are safe and sound. Xiao Fang, don't you mean? Hongmengshu asked in shock. Yes, that's what I think. Once this thing is used, it will be an invincible shield. The defensive magic weapon has become an offensive magic weapon. Xiaofeng really has yours. I wish you good luck. What else the Hongmeng tree can say can only be a blessing. The Shield of Holy Light is indeed very suitable for Fang Qingran. This thing was given to Fang Qingran, and it was like adding wings to a tiger. It could only mourn for those members of the Lingyun sect. It was unclear whether they were lucky or unlucky to have such young junior sisters. But thinking about the future scenes, Hongmengshu suddenly felt that there was something good to watch again. Fang Qingran withdrew the power of her consciousness and looked at other treasures. All the dozen treasures here are sealed separately. Fang Qingran chose to look at these treasures one by one. It would be even more perfect if he encountered another treasure like the Shield of Holy Light. Unfortunately, the next treasures are of little use to her. There is a phoenix feather, which is suitable for all spirits nowadays. There was also a ghost flag that was swallowed up by the Wangui flag. Soon, only the last long box was left, and it was obvious at a glance that it contained a sword. Fang Qingran showed no interest in swords. She already had the best Qingduan sword and Dragon Emperor sword. The other divine swords are just icing on the cake for her. Fang Qingran originally planned to put the sword box away directly, but when she touched the sword box, she felt a strange yet familiar force. Fang Qingran opened the sword box and his eyes fell on the sword in the sword box. The sword was completely black and shone with a terrifying light. Fang Qingran flipped his wrist, and the Dragon Emperor's sword appeared. For a moment, the sword in the sword box trembled, as if out of fear, and also seemed to be resonating with the Dragon Emperor's sword. Fang Qingran's eyes flashed slightly. Before the Dragon Emperor fell asleep, Senior Dragon Emperor once said that before it entered the Dragon Emperor's sword, there should be other sword souls in the Dragon Emperor's sword. Junior sister, we really can't roll anymore. Chapter 1182 5 Colorful Dragon.